This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good afternoon, and welcome to the Sunset Safari, where we are starting off with one of the most attractive antelope. But a very special warm welcome to the kids of Diamond Springs, Parkview, as well as Allenton Elementary Schools. It's wonderful to have you on board. My name is Jamie, and this afternoon Craig is behind the camera. And we're coming to you live from a place called Djuma Private Game Reserve, which is in the Greater Kruger National Park area of South Africa. For those of you watching, you can send through your questions on hashtag SafariLive on Twitter, alternatively in the comments section of YouTube. We will get to them after the school drive. But for now, the kids that are joining us are between 4 to 6 years old, and we have lots and lots of questions coming through from them. Now, kids, what you're seeing is actually happening in real life right here on Safari, which is very, very exciting. And that means that you can think up all sorts of questions that you would like to ask us, and you can hear us say your name as well while we're answering them. So there's lots of different exciting things about being on Safari with us. I don't know how cold it is where you are, but Elia wants to know how hot it gets here in South Africa. It is pretty warm here today. It is 86 degrees Fahrenheit, so 30 degrees centigrade for those of you that work in centigrade. So it's pretty warm. That's not nearly as warm as it gets out here. So sometimes our days go over 40 degrees centigrade, so well over 110 Fahrenheit sometimes. And it gets really, really, really hot. And the sun is super strong, so we all make sure that we wear sunblock, or that we make sure that we cover up as well. We wear hats, and we drink lots and lots of water because it gets very, very warm out here. So warm that all the antelope that I was trying to show you have gone to hide in the shade. Now, these antelope are known as nyala, and there's lots of different types of antelope, because there's actually two different types of antelope here. There's nyala in the back, and then there's also some impala as well. So nyala are much, much bigger, and you can think of antelope kind of like deer. They're basically the African equivalent of deer, and we've got loads of different species. So some are big and like to live out in the open, some are smaller and like to hide away in dense vegetation. They're all very, very pretty. I mentioned that we get some big antelope out here. We do, but none of them are as big as the biggest animal out here.
Welcome everybody to a very, very hot day in South Africa. It's the hottest it's been in quite a while. So my name is Lauren, and on camera with me today I have Sebastian. And just ahead of us right now we have a small herd of elephants. Now, talking of the heat, elephants, of course, will find it very hot. Look at the size of these animals. And if you look very closely in the middle, there's a little young one, a very, very small little elephant that's right in the middle of the herd. And more elephants keep coming out of the bushes. So maybe this herd is actually going to be bigger than I first thought. Now, what these elephants are doing right now is one of their favourite things that they just love to do: eat marula fruits. Micah's asking, why do elephants have such a long nose? Well, this is called a trunk. So it's not what we call a nose like yours and eyes. It's called a trunk, and it does function so the elephant can smell like you and I. It does have two very specialized nostrils, but it's also used for so many other things. For example, they can pick things up like they are doing now. They're picking up marula fruits under this beautiful marula tree, and they're eating it. So they're picking it up with their trunk and they're popping it in their mouth. And one of the elephants there, you can see that, is using its trunk to reach up and try and grasp the fruit that's on the tree itself. Now, they also use their trunks to pick up water. So when they come to a water point, they'll pick up the water with their trunk, and that's how they will hold it and then release it into their mouth. Now, elephants love to go for a swim, especially on hot days like this. And I think this is exactly where they're heading, to a water hole. So when they do go in the water, they will actually go into the water and they can completely submerge themselves, and they will hold their trunk out the water like a snorkel to breathe. So they can do many fantastic things with their trunk. Now, they're just disappearing off into the vegetation. So we're just going to go forward really, really quickly and see if we can get another view of them while I answer Nadia's question. So Nadia was asking, how exactly do they pull up water? So they will put their trunk into the water, and they will, like we breathe in through our nose, like that. That's exactly what they would do. They would put their trunk into the water, and through the two nostrils they pull up water, and it's a lot of water, a lot more water than you and I could ever hold. Let me see if I can just get you another beautiful view. We're just going to go forward a little bit. They've gone right into the next marula tree. So yes, they pull up the water and they hold it in their trunk, and then they put... There's more here. A big one. Is that okay, Seb? Yeah. And then they put their trunk in their mouth and they release all the water. It's such a lovely thing to do, Nadia, and that is exactly how they do it. So their trunk is an organ of many tasks. They can do so many things with it. It acts as their nose. It acts as like a pair of hands. They can use their trunk for so many things. And also, when the elephants are very young, like that little baby we just saw, they're not actually able to properly use their trunk. It takes a baby elephant a long time to learn. I didn't quite catch the name, but Kirsty will tell me again. But the question was, why are elephants' ears so big? So I'm going to start answering it before I get the name of the person who... Radcliffe, I think was the name. And why are the ears so big? Well, African elephants are the biggest of them all. They have huge ears, but they're very, very thin. So if you were to touch an elephant's ears, you would be surprised at how thin the ears actually are. Now, this is because they use them to cool down. On a very hot day like today, now it's really, really hot today, they flap their ears back and forth. The elephant's just about to come back out the bush, and this helps cool their body down. Now, when you and I are very hot, we sweat, which isn't so nice all the time, but that's our body's way of cooling down. Elephants cannot sweat. So this is why they have big, huge ears that they flap up and down all day long, and it just helps them keep cool because they're not sweating like we are. There's another one. There's 2 elephants. There's so many elephants around. It's incredible. And you can see the size difference here. We have a much older one and then a much younger young. So we're going to try and see if we can maybe follow these elephants to a water hole, which is where I believe they're heading. But for now, we're going to send you all the way up to Kenya, to the Masai Mara, to see some sleepy lions.
A very good afternoon and welcome to the Masai Mara. Here in the shade, we have something. Hello, my name is Isaac Ratich, and on camera I have Bungei. And it's a sunny, gorgeous afternoon in the Masai Mara. In the shade over there, I have a nice animal for you guys. Can you see it? That is a lioness. She is in the shade because it is around 30 degrees Celsius and about 81 Fahrenheit. 30 is very hot for us here. Normal is around 28. So she is hiding in the shade because it is very, very hot. You can tell she's looking at something. We're going to show you what she's looking at later. And there's 3 more. You see another one. You see the tail there. That is another one. And also there is another one that we're going to show you shortly. So there are 3 in total. There's another one. They're all lying flat in the shade, in the sea of grass. A lot of grass here at the moment. That is a young boy or a young male. You can tell because he's got a bit of more hairs around his neck and head. Austin, you ask me why lions have got such big teeth. Good question. They need to break through the neck when the skin when they are killing an animal. So they have these long canines. Actually, they're called canines, to break through the skin and close the windpipe so the animal dies. And also they need to cut the meat, so they have to have bigger teeth. That's why. Yeah, this one is moving. She's very healthy. Look at her. She's a girl. She doesn't have the hairs like I showed you earlier. Yeah. So those teeth are used for killing other animals. Actually, you can see them. The ones, they are 4. Let's see if she's going to open the mouth again. And then you're going to be able to see them. If she turns, you will be able to see them. There are 4 of them. They're long ones. And then the rest are much smaller. These ones are the ones that help in strangling an animal. The rest, you see that? Those are 2 at the bottom and 2 at the top. They are very sharp. You don't want to be in between them. She is very healthy, and she's going to say hello to another one of her sisters, who we earlier saw heading to the right. She is about 4 years old, and she looks Varamia, you ask me if lions are faster than cheetahs? No. I will tell you why. Lions run at 60 kilometers an hour, which is around 47 miles in your country. I don't know which country you come from, but kilometers and miles is different. Here we do it in kilometers. It goes 60 kilometers, and only for a very short distance. The cheetah does around 110 kilometers, so almost as fast as the lion. So the cheetah is very fast, and the reason is the cheetah is leaner and smaller and lighter. The lion is much heavier and bigger. The lion is meant for killing bigger animals. That is why it is much stockier. It is much bigger for killing bigger animals. Cheetahs kill only small animals. In my book here, I will show you the difference between a lion and a cheetah, and you will see the size. They're actually totally different, very different. A cheetah can run very fast because it is built for running. It's got a long body, a thin head, a very long tail, and the lion is built for running. Yeah. Here I have a picture of a cheetah and a lion. Look at this. Yeah, I'll show you a picture of a cheetah and a lion. See this? This is a lion and this is a cheetah. So you see a cheetah is basically much smaller. It's got a very long tail and it's got spots, and it's meant for a very long body for running. See, the lion is very thick, very strong legs, very big, head for carrying the big strong teeth and muscles for biting into an animal. So that is the difference between lion and cheetah. So the cheetah is much faster than a lion. And here, these are one male who is about 4 years old and 3 females that are about 5 years old. In lions, males are much heavier and they don't do most hunting. Most hunting is done by the females. Males can weigh up to 500 pounds, and females can weigh only up to around 250 pounds, so almost half the size of a male. That is a boy. You can tell he's got a scruffy head, scruffy male. Edward, you asked me, why do the 4 lions have manes? Here we have one with a mane, but they have manes because males fight for territories. Territories are the homes where they live. They have to fight for those territories. So when they fight, so that they don't injure each other, they grow this mane so it cushions the blow. It is like a boxer wearing a helmet, or you wearing a helmet when you're cycling or motorcycling. You wear a helmet so that it can cushion when you fall. Same thing applies with male lions, that it reduces the impact to the head, because that way when they're fighting, they try to hit each other. Yes, this is a beautiful young male. Look at his teeth, very sharp, very, very sharp. Yeah, he's looking out there. I don't know what he's looking at, but they have very good sense of smelling. They can hear very well, and also they have very good eyesight. While I wait to see what they're doing, I'm gonna take you to Lauren, who's got a bird for you.
So we did come down to the water hole, and we're hoping that the elephants are going to come here because they were heading in this direction for some water and for some swimming and to cool down. So we hope that they come, but while we wait, there's lots of little birds around here to show you. Now we have 2 different types of animals in front of us. The black and white ones, the 2 that are standing together, they are called blacksmith lapwings. And they are really beautiful little birds with long legs, but they are very noisy. Now they get their name from the fact that they make a very noisy call that's like ding, 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 ding. It sounds something a little bit like that, like someone is hitting a piece of metal with a hammer, and that's where their name comes from. So obviously they're not making any noise just now, but they are very, very noisy birds. And in the background here, we have 2, actually, Egyptian geese. Now, these are also very, very noisy animals, and I'm not actually going to do an impression of that because I don't think I'll do it very well. But these Egyptian geese have beautiful facial markings. They have lovely colours on their eyes, and they're very often found around the water. So it's very common to come here and see Egyptian geese. Now, many of the Egyptian geese have little goslings at the minute, but I can't see any here, unfortunately. But normally you can see the tiny, tiny little babies swimming next to Mum in the water holes. Diane is asking, why do the birds have long legs? Well, both of these birds, actually, the 2 different types, both have long legs, and it's for different reasons. So many birds, like the black and white one, they actually spend a lot of time near the water holes, and they walk. Can you see it's moving its leg here just now? They walk across the muddy, sandy bottom looking for food to eat. So by using long legs, it helps them walk across this difficult, sticky and muddy bottom. So we are going to try and see if we can find the elephants one more time for you. But while we do that, let's go back to Jamie, who has another baby animal for you.
Look at what we found for you. Aren't they absolutely adorable? We've got a whole host of tiny baby warthogs gathered together in the shade. There's Mum standing over them, making sure that they are safe. And it looks like she's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I wonder if there isn't another mother here as well. Just to let you know, I'm not ignoring your questions. For some reason, I'm really struggling to hear them on this fine afternoon. Let me see if I can figure out why. Because that would be terrible if I couldn't answer your questions. Here we go. Now Edward would like to know, when do warthogs eat? Well, apparently they definitely eat at exactly 20 minutes past 4 in the afternoon. For that, of course, is the time here in South Africa. Sorry, Edward, you wanted to know when they sleep, which actually makes a lot more sense. So they'll eat. I might as well finish my train of thought. They eat all the way through the day. They sleep when the sun goes down. So warthogs are very, very afraid of being outside when it gets dark. So at around about sunset, and that means that it is different depending on the time of year. Around about sunset, they will go to their burrows in a termite mound or underground. So they've got nice big holes, and the little tiny babies will go running in first, and then the female will come in afterwards. And she reverses down into the burrow, so puts her bottom down the hole first, so that if anything does try to get to her little piglets, she's ready to defend them with her tusks. Oh, there's so many! So cute! This is one of my favorite times of year because there are so many tiny little baby warthogs around. The first time I've seen a proper family here, though, so I'm quite excited. Tamaris would like to know, got a bit of a fright there. Tamaris would like to know why their ears are so small. That's a very good question, and I don't actually know the answer to that. Because you would think that a warthog would probably have quite a big ears. Maybe it's because they get in the way when they go down into their burrows. Because, of course, the bigger the animal's ears, the better it is for making all the sounds around them that much louder. And they can use them to gauge distance, and they can figure out where a noise is coming from. That's why those antelope that we started with, those nyala, have such big, big ears to help to look around. So I actually don't know. I don't know why warthogs' ears are so small. I've never asked them. Maybe they're actually quite shy about their tiny ears. I don't know. They're going to have a drink now. They've snuffled up some food. And remember that warthogs don't eat bugs. Not like the Lion King. Rainier, you want to know if warthogs are fast or if they're slow. They are so fast that even one of those little babies, if I were to have a race with one of those babies, I would lose so badly that I wouldn't even be able to see it in about 3 or 4 seconds. They are super, super, super quick. They have to be, because there's lots out here that like to eat warthogs. Leopards, cheetah. Remember, Isaac's been telling you about how fast cheetah can run. Lions are not slow either. So they've got to be really, 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 really fast in order to be able to escape from predators. Faster than you, faster than me, faster even than Craig, and he's a lot faster than me. So they can run very fast indeed. Probably not quite the speed that you would drive at, but maybe the speed that you're driving at when you go with your parents to school through small roads, not on the motorway, but through small roads. A warthog would probably be around about that fast. Now, Aiden, you want to know if warthog babies are called cubs. They're not, because warthogs actually belong to the pig family. So just like the pigs, maybe you've seen a pig in a farm where you live, the pigs out there are kind of a little bit different, but the warthog is still related to those pigs. So they are known as piglets. These are warthog piglets. They look a bit different to the piglets you might have seen in books, but they are still piglets. And they look like little piglets, don't they? Tiny, snuffly noses. See, if you look closely, you can sort of see they look a bit like pigs. Now, Radko wants to know if warthogs climb things, and the answer is not. They can't really climb like they could climb a tree or anything like that, but they are quite agile, so they could climb up a steep bank. You know, maybe if there's a nice steep hill in front of them, they could run up it. I've also seen a warthog jump, a big male warthog, which weighs about 200 pounds. I've seen a big male warthog jump over a meter upwards. So they can jump upwards, but they can't do something like climb a tree. A warthog in a tree would be a very strange sight indeed if it was jumping about in the branches. They're not built that way. So they've got sharp pointed hooves, which makes them very fast, but it does mean that if they were to try and climb a tree, they would just slip out. So not everything is good at climbing. Humans are, monkeys and baboons are out here, leopards are because they've got paws with claws, but no, pigs, definitely not. Definitely not warthogs. And you'll notice that we're quite far away, and that's because I didn't want to scare these little piglets away. I was worried they might run away. Now, Dante, while we're watching these little piglets with their mommies, you want to know how long they will stay with their mommies. You know what's lovely is that sometimes female warthogs actually stay with their mommies for a long time, sometimes even up until they're ready to have babies themselves. So the male warthogs are usually ready to leave mom at around about a year old, although sometimes they do stay around and stay quite close to her. But the females often stay with mom, even to the point where they're fully grown and they're ready to have their own piglets, and then the mom and her daughter will have piglets at the same time. And I think there's a chance that this is what's happened here, because there's actually two adults here. There's two mommies, and some of those piglets will belong to the one mommy, and some of the other piglets will belong to the other mommy. Oh, they're so cute. I think if I did try to get any closer, I was thinking about it, but I think unfortunately it wouldn't work very well. Okay. We're going to go off in search of other things. I'm going to be checking the water holes for animals coming to have a drink. While I search, Isaac is still with his very sleepy lions.
Yeah, I'm still here with the beautiful lions. I wanted to show you this guy again, and you can see his teeth. I don't know if he's gonna lie down or stay up for me, but he's been resting in the shade because it is still very hot. But he was very interested in some giraffes that came by, but they have left. Now I think he wants a little bit of shade, so he has come out in the open. I don't know where he's heading. Let's see. He's got a little wound. I don't know what happened to him. And back leg there. There's another female there, and that's why he's gone to say hello, I think. Micah, you ask me, what do lions like to do, during the day? They rest a lot. They rest for up to 15 to 20 hours of a day. And the reason they do that is once they have eaten, they rest a lot. And also, after, if they haven't eaten something, they will look after it, look for it. And when they find it, usually sometimes it is very big. So they use a lot of energy. And that's why they rest this much. And also, lacking, they don't, sweat like us. So all the heat is lost through the mouth. And with digestion, it takes a long time. So it can go for up to 4 or 5 days digesting the food. So they rest a lot, and that's what they do. Like right now, when it's hot like this, they will rest until it is cool. This one you can tell is still quite young with a pink nose. Yawn, 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 yawn. Beautiful. Look at those teeth. Mary, you asked me what is the lion's favorite food. They eat zebra and also wildebeest, but different. Lions love different things, very much like you. I don't know what you like eating. Some of you like eating spaghetti. Some of like you eating pizza. Some of you like, a hamburger. Over here, we don't have all those, but the same for these. Some of them, like these lionesses, they love to eat buffalo. We have others that love to eat warthog. So they differ. As long as it is meat, they eat different types. This one here, they love eating buffalo. And it is not easy to bring down a buffalo. They take a lot of energy, a lot of coordination, and that's why they're resting until it is cool, and then they can go look for something. But they're not hungry today. Looks like they will stay here until maybe tomorrow. All they need now is water, and then they'll go for another 2-3 days without eating. I wish we could do that ourselves. Imagine going for 2 days without eating. I would love to do that, but we have to eat every day. So when you look here, you would think there is no lion. And that's why when you come to Africa, you have to come and, take one of us to take you out here, because you might not know where the lion is. See how open it is? You would think, oh, there is nothing. You go running and they will get you. So when you come to Africa, we have to take you around. Let me take you around here so we can see this guy a little bit more. And then we see what's going to happen. Okay, while I do that, let me take you to Jamie in Juma.
Well, I hope he repositions really, really quickly, because, there we go. I was about to say what I wanted to show you is hiding away, but there we go. It's come out into the open, and I have not seen one of these birds in a very, very long time. So that is a type of duck, and it is actually named after the protrusion that sits on the top of its beak. So you see that funny bit that sticks out at the top of its beak? That is what it's named after. It's known as a knob-billed duck or a comb duck. I haven't seen one in a very long time. And that is the male knob-billed duck. So they are the easiest out of all the different birds to identify. Now, there's lots of different species of birds, and when we spend time out here, we like to look for different birds as well, not just lions and elephants and things like that, because we really, really enjoy seeing them, and there's so many more birds than there are animals, or at least than there are mammals. It's kind of like a treasure hunt, so every year I get really excited to see these ducks. I haven't seen one in a long time. That's great. The female's there with him as well, so it might even be that they have a nest here. Amaya would like to know... Oh, there she is. I'm completely missed her because the sun is so bright. Amaya wants to know what it is like living in Africa. Well, Africa's a really, really big place, and I've only lived in certain parts of Africa. But I can tell you that living in South Africa is my favorite place to be. So I've lived in a couple of different places in the world, but this for me is always home. I love living here because there's amazing wildlife, and I love the people of South Africa as well. And sometimes it's tough because Africa's got a very complicated history, and South Africa's got a very complicated history, and a lot of complicated problems, big adult problems with politics and all sorts of things like that. But that's okay, because the good things out here, like anywhere in the world, make up for the bad things. And I get up early every morning, and I get to find all sorts of wonderful animals. Now, Ramon wants to know, I think, why ducks live in water. Did I hear that correctly? I just want to double check, given that I am struggling a little bit to hear. Swim. Ramon wants to know why they swim in water. Well, Ramon, that's what they are designed to do. So they've got webbed feet, and the way that their bodies are shaped, they can float on the water quite easily, and all they have to do is paddle their feet around. And the reason that they spend so much time on the water is because, first of all, they eat a lot of what is in the water itself. So they sieve out the algae and stuff like that. So they basically put their beaks down and they snuffle around and they get the food that they need. So a lot of their food is in the water. And also because sometimes it's safer for them to be there. So out around the bushes and the trees, there's maybe leopards or cats or something like that. So maybe it's safer for them to be hiding in the water. And that is about as good a view as I can give you of a duck that I haven't seen in a very long time. And for those of you watching, you can add it to your list. While I carry on in search of something else, I don't know what that something else is going to be. Probably more water to see what's about. Isaac's doing really well this afternoon. He's found you something very tall.
Here we have the tall one, or giraffe. Over here at home we call it twiga. And this is called the Maasai giraffe. And he is very busy eating leaves. You see those long lips are for plucking leaves off the trees. You see how it's very long? It's for getting into the bushes. You see, that's how he uses it. She uses it actually to get into the bushes and pluck those nutritious, sweet, juicy leaves. That's what she is eating. And this is a female. I can tell because it doesn't have a belly bottom. Matthew, you ask me why the giraffes have got a long neck. It is so that they can reach to the highest trees that no other animals can reach. They feed on only leaves, and if they had a short neck, they would starve. They would starve themselves. So they have evolved to have these long necks so they can reach tall trees. Usually they don't eat the low trees like this, and usually it is difficult to bend their necks, so they eat those ones that are taller more. That is the pattern. It looks like patches or a jigsaw puzzle. This is how we identify different types. This one is called the Maasai giraffe. That skin is also almost a centimeter thick. It's very hard to penetrate. You can tell she's paler as she gets towards the head, very much as us, like us, when we age, our heads go white. They sometimes do that. Can you see the eyelashes? Oh, Tom, you ask, what do giraffes do for fun? Well, eating is on their agenda all the time. They eat, that is their fun. They don't have any other fun apart from eating and making sure they're safe. They don't have any other fun, even little ones. They don't run around like we do, or our dogs. They don't. They just continue eating. That is their most fun. But it is actually a very interesting question, because I've never heard somebody else ask me that question. It's a very intelligent and tricky question. And actually giraffes don't have any fun apart from eating. That is the view of the Masai Mara, and they are very close to the road, and over there is another one that's coming to say hello to this one close to us. He was walking a long ways away, and he decided to come and say hello to this one. This one is a boy. if you see in between, in between the stomach, he's got a belly button. That's how you can tell it's a boy. And also on the forehead, you can tell it's got a notch, like a little bump. That is how also you can tell it's a boy. And he's walking very, very fast. One of his strides is equivalent to 5 hours. So it's a very big stride. Is he gonna stop and have a nibble? Yes, he's gonna do that. There's something very nutritious and he has to eat that. Is it tasty? Can I have a little bit more? Or maybe not. Yeah, he doesn't like it. Does it like it? Yes, I think it's gonna go for seconds. Lots of butterflies there. So it means there is a flowering fruit there. Yes, look at that tongue, very long. Okay, well, I enjoy the giraffe. I'll link you to my colleague who's got some elephants.
So our prediction was right. We did think we were going to join the Ellies again at the water hole. And they've came all the way down, jauntily skipping. Elephants tend to get very, very happy when it's time to come to the water hole. And this is exactly what they're doing. You can see they just really look forward to their time at the water. It would be like us getting ready for our swimming pool sessions. Come on, it's time to go to the water. And they tend to throw it all over themselves and they make a big mess. So sometimes you can really see when an elephant's been at a water hole because it's so messy. There's water splashed everywhere, becomes really, really muddy. They're not neat, shall we say. Hello. You see it's using its trunk there just to sniff around. I don't know where the rest of them went because there was many of them. So I think slowly, one by one, they're going to make their way all down to this wonderful water hole. And I wish I could put my swimming goggles on and jump into this water hole. But unfortunately, it's not a good idea to do that. Why do elephants have such small... Did you get that, Seb?
Small tail, I think.
Small tail. Okay, I am asked that question. So why do they have such a small tail? Well... Tail. Okay, good. Just checking I got that right. Well, elephants actually, you can see this one here. Maybe just occasionally you'll see its tail swooshing behind it. You see that? Right behind its bottom. The tail is swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. And you can... What it's probably doing here is swatting away the flies from its bottom. So most animals, a lot of animals out here have tails, and some animals use their tails for balance, but elephants don't need their tails for balance. So it's just a small tail that they just use as a fly swatter, if you like, and of course it protects that part of the body. Now elephants also use their tail as part of communication. When you read their body language, it's always very important to look at an elephant's tail, and that sometimes tells you how happy or sad the elephant is. So you can see here it's just swooshing from side to side. It's quite happy, and it's obviously just keeping all the flies away that are landing on its bottom. Now, I really did think they were going to jump into the water, but this one hasn't, but I think it's slowly making its way there. When do they sleep, Grayson? Well, that is an interesting question. Elephants sleep in a very unusual way. So they sleep in short bouts. They don't sleep all the way through the night like you or I do, where we put our head on the pillow and we start snoring and we don't wake up until the morning. Well, that's what I do anyway. Elephants don't do that. So they take little rests throughout the day. And actually, big elephants like this are able to sleep standing up. Can you believe it? They're able to take rests while standing. But very often you will see the small little baby ones surrounded by all the big ones. is going to the water, sleeping on the ground. So very often the babies will lie on their side and they will be surrounded by all the big elephants who are looking to protect them. So it's finally came to the water hole. How exciting! Oh, look at that. Did you see it just splashed itself with water? It's happy and it's drinking. That's what we were speaking about earlier, boys and girls, remember? It's taking the water up in its trunk and it's putting it into its mouth. So that's one of the many uses of the trunk. So elephants will rest at night too, but they always have to be careful. They stay within their herd and they protect their young, but they don't sleep as long as we do as humans. Oh, happy elephant. So it loves just taking the water in the trunk and splashing it on the body. There we go. So we're just going to watch this Ellie drinking for a little bit longer. And it's very noisy. You can hear him just splashing the water everywhere. But for now, boys and girls, it is time to say goodbye. Thank you so much for all your amazing questions and comments. I enjoyed answering all the wonderful questions that you did give to me. So we're just going to look at this Ellie while we say goodbye. Say goodbye to the lovely Ellie. Bye-bye. And we hope that we see you joining us soon again at SafariLive for more amazing questions. So have a great day, boys and girls. So good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to your sunset safari on this incredibly hot afternoon here in Djuma, South Africa. And we have came down here to Treehouse Dam to follow this elephant. So first things first, my name is Lauren, and on the camera I do have Sebastian. So we were hoping, actually, we followed a rather large herd, and we were hoping that they were all going to come down here and splash about at the water hole. But it appears the rest of the herd have not had the same ideas that I had. So we still had the most wonderful moment with this elephant here, taking a large drink and a splash of water. But the rest of the herd do not seem to have followed through. Now, it is 30 degrees Celsius here right now and 86 degrees Fahrenheit, which is very hot. Not as hot as it can get here, of course, but it's hot. It's the hottest it's been in at least a week, I would say. So that's why we anticipated all the elephants to come down here. But you can see this one here has just abandoned the water idea and is going to feed on some delicious grass nearby. So we might hang out here for a few minutes longer just to see if the rest of the herd come, because it would be a beautiful sighting to see them in the water. But for now, let's go up to Isaac in the Mara with a giraffe.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Masai Mara. Here I have the Masai giraffe. I am Isaac Rotich, and on camera is Bungei. It's rather warm in this afternoon in the Mara, but still very, very beautiful. The temperatures are about 30 degrees Celsius and about 81 Fahrenheit. Too hot for this time of the year, just after going through the rains. Everything looks perfect. Looks like these giraffes are congregating here. There is something nutritious for them, and that's why they're all coming here. But meanwhile, this big male here is interested in that young female. Sometimes they will do that, they'll sniff the female's back until they force the female to pee, where they continue and proceed on to test if she is coming into season. By that, then it can tell them if they can stick there for longer or they can move on. And in this case, it is let's check number 2. And that's what he's gonna do. This is a perfect big male, over a ton, I would estimate. Yes, it is quite a big difference between male and females, although that female wasn't fully grown. it is still quite big in size. This guy, I think, over here, he's not interested in anything else apart from checking the females, because he is interested in making sure that, you know, he's got his gene in the years to come. He's trying to spread it as much as possible. He's making his rounds, and the backdrop there is across the river, a place we call Paradise Plains. That is the other side of the river. The big trees in the middle there, that is the beautiful Mara River forest, and all scattered before the forest there is the beautiful Croton Dachogamas forest, and that's where our few rhinos we have in the Mara hang around, although we don't see them very much. He's going to the third one now, and I don't know if he's going to be lucky this time round. Well, looks like that female was waiting. I don't know. Okay, looks like, am I interested in you? No, I'm not ready. And who are you, actually? Yeah, she looks like she's decided to tell him off. I don't know what she said to him, and he's moved on. This is an amazing sight, because he is actually interested only in the female that's going to be in season. Karen, they are currently threatened. They are not endangered, but they are threatened. In the Mara, we don't have that issue, but in places where there's human habitation surrounding game parks and national parks, there is a threat, because they are poached for bushmeat. Over here, we don't have that, but they are threatened. The numbers are not as good as in the last 50 years. But here, they are really protected, and we see them in good numbers. He's going to number 4, I think. Very busy and very determined. He's headed all the way down there to check the last few girls who are standing waiting for him. I don't know if they're going to be willing or not, but this is what males do when they find females. They will check if they're in estrus. If they are coming close to estrus, they'll try and stick to them as much as possible, and when the females are in estrus, they'll stay in estrus for just a few days, which means the male needs to be there. And once they've bred, you know, it takes about 14 months for a giraffe to give birth, and after birth it will stay for another about 4 or 5 years. Oh, that female is actually quite a rough one, you know. He's like, you know, hey, who are you? I'm not interested. Lily, he's got a lot of determination. Yes, he's got, I think his testosterone are very high, but it looks like he's not being very lucky. I think somebody else has been here already, so they're not interested at him. You can tell they're moving away. That is being submissive. He's begging now. He's like, oh, please. Paula, I agree with you. He needs to buy the ladies some dinner. I think here he might have to take them somewhere nice where there's some nice lush trees, and they might agree to him. You see, I don't know why, but this time he stopped. He didn't go straight to that female. Maybe she knows she's a feisty one, or she doesn't want his nonsense. So he's stopped there. Giraffes have got amazing eyesight, and from where we saw him earlier, it was quite a distance, and he's walked quite a long way checking. I think, you know, he did realize that that female is not gonna tolerate him, so he's moved on. I don't know if there is any more girls that way, but he's quite a distance now. I don't know what he's doing. He's turned around. Well, they're all over here, giraffes, in this beautiful setting of the Masai Mara. They are almost buried knee height by this sea of grass, highly nutritious. They don't feed on it as much. They usually eat leaves, and it is in plenty this time of the year, so there's nothing for them to worry. Also, with this kind of lush leaves and twigs they don't need to drink every day because they can obtain the moisture off those leaves. This is the advantage of having a long neck. You can see that female is utilizing the neck, and if she cannot reach, she will stretch the neck upwards, and if not, that's not enough, then she'll push out her 18-inch long tongue. That's so freaky. You can see it every now and then. When she pushes it out to pluck off leaves from the tree, and that's why most of the trees in the Mara have got this flat canopy, is from underbrowsing by giraffes and elephants. My friend, the big bull, is still making his rounds. I'm wishing him luck, but looks like on the way he's decided to have a nibble and maybe continue with his rounds. He seems to be very determined. I don't know what he's eaten. He's making another round now. This is quite interesting, and this is why sometimes guiding is so beautiful and nice when you see such things, and you can wonder exactly what's going through this guy's mind. He's making rounds. It's like going from one club to the other, or going from one diner to another, hoping somebody will notice you. Over here he's decided to eat a little bit and then maybe move on. Yeah, this girl, okay, she just changed. I wanted to show you what difficulty they face when eating something. When it's too low, they have to spread their legs, and that is when they are most vulnerable, because standing up, it's an issue. He has decided to turn around and come towards us, but he's gonna take a very long loop. I don't know what he has decided. Nature girl, I don't know what is that, but definitely he needs to read the body language of these girls and maybe time it well in such a way that he'll come. Yes, I think he need to think about it first. He need to come at the right time, but you can tell he's determined, and I'm sure he's gonna get lucky. These are not the only girls in the world. When you miss one, you get one. He's gonna go and find another one somewhere. Okay, Bungei has decided to change the topic and to show you the most beautiful, superb starling. What a gorgeous bird. Look at him or her. That is one of the common starlings we get in the Mara, and he's very busy eating some insects. Yeah, it's hard to sex them to know if it's male or female, and he's quite busy. He's usually in company of others. I don't know if he's there are others way back there. Yes, sir, he's quite busy there. I don't know what he's doing. Okay, well, I get busy with this guy. Let me take you to Jamie, who's driving, looking for something.
Imagine how much more awkward dating life would be if you were followed by a camera and a couple of thousand people laughed at your problems. And now the giraffe, of course, has no concept of a camera, the internet, or a live safari, nor, I suppose, does it have any concept of embarrassment. But if it did, if it knew that a couple of thousand people had just watched multiple females reject his advances, well, I can only imagine the sheer embarrassment that might overtake him. Right, I can share with you now my plans for this evening. I didn't earlier because no point telling the school children about what they're going to miss once they've gone back to their regular school day. The plan is to find this hyena den. Have to. Ow! Biting fly. The plan is to find the hyena den, or to attempt to find the hyena den. So I'm basically just killing time around the eastern edge of Djuma until around about 5:30, 6, where I'm going to go down south along Cheetah Cut Line, and I'm going to lurk backwards and forwards around Leadwood onto Torchwood and back again, in the vain hope that I'm going to catch Pretty or Corky walking about. And in fact, if I see June, if any of the hyenas, honestly, any of the hyenas, I'm going to try follow them. And we're going to see if we can figure out where they are, if they are on Torchwood or not. Gives this clan of hyena the most enormous territory I've seen. There's lots of photos of these hyenas all the way to the east towards Nkoro. And it gave me this dream last night. I had this dream that I'll share with all of you. A very odd one, but I only ever dream about SafariLive stuff. It's bizarre. I dreamed that we'd got it wrong all along, and that Corky and Pretty and all of the hyenas that we see were actually only low-ranked members of a massive clan from Kruger that was about 50 members in it. And we had absolutely no idea, because low-ranked hyenas, of course, they den on their edge, often den separately, and often on the edges of the clan's territory. My dreams are wild. Listen, I have a wild and fulfilling life. It's very balanced, not in any way one-sided at all. And anyway, that was my dream, was that we were deeply embarrassed because we watched this massive female hyena the size of a lion come in and dominate everyone. And we'd missed this the past 3 years. And the reason I dreamt that, of course, is because I gave a talk to the Wild Earth Expedition members who are at Juma at the moment. I gave a talk on hyenas last night, and that's obviously where this stemmed from. Embarrassing, though. Imagine if that did happen. Oh, goodness. There'd be people. I was coming to look at Buffelswick Dam. Fine, I'll go this way then. Oh, sorry, Craig. I mean, there's nothing to stop me from going to park behind them, but if I can dodge people, I will. Our Laura Bush says it was a brilliant dream that I had. It was an interesting one. If it did happen, I'm not sure how I would feel. I guess once the shock resolved itself, I would probably be quite excited about the challenge of getting to know these hyenas. I think what's been thumbing away in the back of my mind is the fact that our hyena clan consists, as far as I can tell, of 5 adult females and Antima. Where the other females are, I feel like we should have seen them by now. You know, if D1 was still around, or Jan, but we haven't seen them. That is a very small clan for a very big territory. A really big territory. I don't know, weird. I also started to wonder whether or not the times that they've disappeared, whether or not they've actually been in Torchwood. And we've been so busy thinking they were at Manuletti. Lauren would like to know if we know who the 3-lobed hyena is. I seem to remember, okay, let me explain, let me give a bit of background. There's one hyena out here whose track looks a bit like a leopard's track, because instead of having 2 lobes at the back part of the track, it's got 3. So it confuses Herbie every now and again. It certainly confuses me, because I'm not nearly as skilled as Herbie is. So we get a bit confused, all of us, much confusion. And I remember suspecting at the time, when we first realized there was a 3-lobed hyena, I thought at the time it was Ribbon. So I must check. If I see Ribbon, I must double check her track if I can, and have a look and see if it is her that has the 3 lobes. I think it's her. Can't remember why I suspected that. It was before I went to Kenya, but I came to the conclusion that it was Ribbon. Because she kept raiding our camp. We have to be exceptionally careful with the dustbins, because the hyenas learned that if they ever get left out by mistake, obviously we put them away. Rather than pulling them over and making a noise, they actually have to pick them up and walk out with the spin in their mouths if they want to get them. Fortunately, that hasn't happened in a very, very long time. Right, well, since I apparently couldn't find you an animal in the entire Sabi Sand Game Reserve, off you go back across to Isaac, who's left his courting giraffe and moved on to some elephants.
Here I am with another beautiful creature of the Masai Mara Plains, just a beautiful scene where he is. I don't know if these animals sometimes think of how lucky they are to have these wide open spaces. This is a female, and I think with her 2 offsprings. There are more to the left. We'll be sharing those with you, but they are busy enjoying this lush green grass that is in plenty at the moment in the Masai Mara. You can rather tell that she is a bit hot by the flapping of the ears. See that? Yeah, that's how they cool off, because that is where most of the blood veins are, and they regulate their body temperature by pushing all the blood through the ears, which is quite a lot. It says it takes more than 20 minutes or more to go through. I doubt it. It's almost 200 liters of blood. I doubt it if you can go in 20 minutes to cool off. And yeah, that's how they cool off. This female, you can tell she's facing her backside towards the sun, and I think so that it doesn't get too hot. All of them are facing their backsides towards the sun. They've been wallowing, that's why they have all that mud on their backs. That is to keep away flies. Here comes a little guy. I think he's the youngest over here. Quite busy using his trunk, enjoying also the bits of grass. The population of elephants in the Mara at the moment is unknown, but it is very, very high. Even if we knew, I wouldn't want to share it with you, because there's somebody sometimes getting jealous somewhere. But it is very, very healthy. The only ones that I don't see a lot is the big, massive bulls that we used to see in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. Every now and then, we do see the big bulls coming through. I remember we had one big bull sometimes back. He used to walk down the road. You had to be very careful when you're driving towards camp. We called him Rambo. Rambo was a very beautiful, very tolerant to vehicles until you are at a certain distance. He used to walk down the roads. So wherever there was a corner, you had to be very careful going around the corner so you don't meet Rambo. And he disappeared mysteriously about 11 years ago. I've never seen him, but those are the big bulls you used to see. They are much, much bigger than these females here. I'm not complaining. I'm still happy with females being around here. It's one also of my favorite animal in the animal kingdom. Remember to engage us on Twitter, #SafariLive. You can ask me as many questions as I can, as you can. If I cannot answer them, my colleagues will answer them. Tem, you ask which animal I think is the most intelligent. Very, very scientific, very interesting question. I would put it, the 2 animals that I know that are very intelligent, and scientifically I won't explain, but I know the elephant and the honey badger. And I would explain in a very simple manner, where I know the elephants here are very smart in a way that they can go through certain areas that are populated without the inhabitants of those places knowing, only to realize in the morning. I think it doesn't take somebody who's not intelligent to do that. You have to be very intelligent to know what time to pass there. And also raiding farms, they go at night, they don't go during the day. So, that is a bit of intelligence. Also, the honey badger, it has been known to use tools. We have seen documentaries of honey badger being locked in steel cages, and they're left only with like a pole where they push it towards a corner, and then they use it to climb up and out. I would say that is a form of intelligence, and I think I hope it's the kind of intelligence that you are looking for. Also, I have witnessed in a documentary where a honey badger learned how to unlatch a door, and also I think that is intelligent. So I would say there are 2 that I think in Africa are the most intelligent. elephant and honey badger. Although there are very many in birds, the crows are very intelligent. So these two are actually the most, I would put them as the most intelligent, elephants and honey badgers. That's a beautiful view of the beautiful Masai Mara. This is the Mara Triangle, which is in the Mara Game Reserve, which is in Kenya. And Kenya is one of the few countries in Africa. We are very close to the equator, and altitude here is around 5,700 feet. Some places, I understand, that altitude you could be skiing. And I think that over here, we cannot ski, and because we're very close to the equator, the temperatures change very fast. I don't know, some areas, why you can ski. I think it's because you're far up or far down. But here, temperatures don't go beyond 36, and they don't go beyond below 10. So it's perfect. Yes, thank you for adding that one. I would think, yes, baboons are intelligent, and actually, yes, I don't know why I forgot, but they are also are intelligent. Primates, I thought, we didn't include apes. But apes are intelligent. I thought we're asking about animals out in the bush, not the apes. But yes, I would say baboons are intelligent. Actually, I have seen baboons where I'm driving and they don't want to be seen, so they lie down and hide. I think that that's a form of intelligence. So actually they are part of the intelligent animals. Yeah, it's quite a beautiful scene. That little guy is almost disappearing in the long grass. Yeah. The noise you can hear, it's a vehicle that's just joined me, and I think it's the first time to see the elephants. They're very excited, but they have reversed behind me. You see the ears flapping very fast? Oh, there's a big mama. That is cooling down. They're cooling down. Very busy trying to cool down. The little guy looks like he's the hottest of all of them. He's flapping them much faster. Yeah, he must be very, very hot. Yeah, you see how tall or high the grass is here? Very, very high. And it won't be like this come November, but it's a high time that these guys utilize it, because it will get another 1 foot longer or taller when we get the long rains in March, April and May. Here in the Masai Mara, or basically in Kenya, we have 2 seasons of wet and dry. We don't get 4 seasons or 2 or 3 like other places. The wet season is March, April, May, and then the rest is dry all the way to November. We get short rains in November, December, and early January. And this effect of this long grass is from the December rains. Then we're coming to get the long rains, and that is the time that it is very wet. Driving off-road is a risk. Anytime you can get stuck. So the mud here is clay soil, and you can easily get stuck, and sometimes AAA is not very close, or 911. So you have to be very careful. But driving here, over the years, you gain experience to read the terrain. Certain trees can tell you it's very wet there, or certain bushes can tell you it's full of holes from old pangolin or advac holes. You learn by experience. Yeah, beautiful scene again. We're looking towards the east. Such a lovely view. Yes, I'm enjoying my elephants. I understand Lauren has got some elephants. Please enjoy them too.
Ellies everywhere. We've gone from water point to water point. We were at Treehouse Dam, then we checked in on Twin Dams, and now we're almost at Chitwa, but we didn't quite make it because we have a little bit of a roadblock in the form of an extremely large elephant. Now, I can't see any other ones around. This one appears to be alone. And if you just take a quick look at its back, it's caked in mud. There's a lot of mud on that elephant's back, so it's obviously been doing some wallowing or mud bathing of some sort to cool down. Now, this area is particularly large, and straight away we thought it could have been Daryl. Just need to take a quick look at the genitals. Yep. But their hole that we can see is on the right ear. We haven't had a good look at the left ear yet.
No, the hole is on the left ear, huh?
Yes. So we can't say it's not him at that moment, but this elephant appears very, very calm and is just going from tree to tree to tree feeding at the moment. So we won't be able to go any further ahead, but we are just going to reposition to get you a better view. But I think he is right on the road. Gremlin General is asking, are elephants allowed to join different herds? So how it kind of works in elephants is it's a matriarchal society, if you like. So most herds, the elephants are related, and the females will travel together with their young. There will be a matriarch who leads the herd, and she is normally the sort of largest, most knowledgeable elephant, and probably the oldest, but not always. There is evidence that suggests sometimes otherwise. But in general, oldest, largest, and one with the most knowledge that can lead to herd through the year, through the seasons, going from good resources to resources. Now, for males, it's a little bit different. Males don't always necessarily have to follow the herd. You very often see a lone bull just wandering around. So once they get to a certain age, teenager age if you like, they can become really boisterous. Testosterone starts flowing through their veins, and they can become quite annoying and difficult for the females to handle. So at this point, they can get ousted from the herd and they can travel alone. Or they can join other young bulls and sort of travel together in a male grouping, if you like. Now, when a male reaches that age where it's in full must and it's ready to mate, testosterone levels are very high. They can be very aggressive and very dangerous. So at this point, this is when they will start following female herds and trying to mate. Let me see if I can just get us a better position. So this male is obviously alone, and he may join up with other males, he may not. He may try to follow females, but that is generally how it works with the herds of elephant. So while we try to get to Chitwa without any more roadblocks, let's send you across to Jane, who is doing her best to locate the Juma clan of hyenas.
Alrighty, so if Lauren's heading to Chitwa, she's going to have to keep a close eye out for the hyenas, because there's a possibility they're denning there as well. It's somewhere, I think, in this corner, around Juma, Torchwood, Chitwa corner. Somewhere there. Their tracks are just everywhere. Haven't heard them whooping much at night. They made the odd appearance, but by and large, it's been silent. So they're not, I don't think they're denning close to us. So I'm trying to tie together all the little loose ends of evidence and figure it out from there. But while I wait for it to get a little bit cooler, there's some old male leopard tracks coming this way. And by that I mean probably from last night sometime. Hello, cutie. Are you going to stay still, or are you going to run as soon as I stop? You're going to run as soon as I stopped. Well, that was inevitable. And we didn't run too far. Little female steenbokkie. I saw it just that fraction too late, unfortunately. Amazing. When it was winter and there were no leaves on the trees and no grass, it looked like the population of small antelope had doubled in Juma. It was just because we could see them all the time. Where now they are next to invisible unless they're right next to the road. Oh, wish I hadn't chosen to drive west. I've been avoiding it, but there's nothing I can do. So we're coming onto Mamba Road looking... these leopard tracks were very indistinct and not particularly fresh looking. No. Anna Marie, as far as I know, no. I haven't heard of any cheetah being spotted in this area recently. I'm thinking, of course, of those two little sub-adults. I have heard about a trio of cheetah. Wait, now I must get this right. I'll double check those messages on the group first, and I'll get back to you on that when I'm not live. I'll have a look and just see. I read something about a trio of cheetah, but it's not our trio. It's not the mother and the two cubs. It was two males and a female, somewhere around back to the east of us, moving between Manyeleti and Malamala. I'll double check and just make sure I've got that exactly right. I'm busy building up basically what's the word I'm looking for? A database of all of our different animal characters. So I'm really hoping that we do get to see those cheetah again, because we could really use some good photos of them from the side that we can use to identify them. And I'm hoping that they might decide to come spend more time with us, or at least one of them. For those of you that don't know, there were two young cheetah. Recently, unfortunately, it seems like they've lost their mother. And there's a male and a female, which makes things a bit tougher because it means the male's got to make it on his own. A female always does. They're not particularly territorial females. They're basically nomadic. So for the boy, it's unfortunate that he doesn't have a sibling to move off into a coalition with, because they're independent quite young. They're still quite little. And I'm hoping that one of them is going to decide to at least visit us every now and again, once they reach full maturity and independence. What time is it? It's not quite, it's still too hot. Still too hot to be lurking around exactly where I think those hyenas are going to pop out. It's got to be 6:30-ish. 6 to 6:30, I think. And this will be the one day that I was actually hoping to get out here and do this before it got too hot. Those last few cloudy days would have been the perfect opportunity, but between safari lives and TV shows and all sorts of things, it didn't quite work out that way. The people were showing me photos last night from a hyena that they saw on Torchwood that nearly walked into the lions, and it looked like Hart to me. I only saw the photo very briefly, but it looked like Hart. Okay, Cuckoo. All right, yes, I hear you. We're going to stop for you. Can you see it there, Craig, on that silver clusterly? They are such a difficult bird to get on camera. Where's it gone now? There it is. There you go. Oh, there you had it, very briefly. The Valence cuckoo. Seb would probably beat me for my pronunciation. It was a very brief, very pleasant look. They're hard to get on camera, cuckoos. They're very shy birds. Make a lot of noise, but very, very shy. Okay, Tingana, it's about time you showed up as well. Been a bit of an extended absence. Okay, well, I scout out further around here. Lauren's made her way on to Chitwa. Let's go see what's happening down at the local watering hole.
Oh, to be a hippo on this fabulously warm day. I didn't think I would ever say that sentence, but I am actually rather jealous of the hippos today because they are completely submerged here and just enjoying the cool water of Chitwa Dam. Now, we did think we might encounter more animals here cooling off, but it doesn't appear to be anything much other than the hippos. And as many of you know, Chitwa Dam has become very overpopulated with hippos. There was, I think, a count done that came to 63, and both Seb and I were just saying this now, where are these 63? The numbers definitely seem to have dropped. Now, of course, it's almost impossible to count them at the minute because they keep going under the water, but there definitely doesn't seem to be as many as there was, say, just 2 or 3 weeks ago. Now, hippos could have left. There's lots of water points around now, and many of the males would have been fighting. I am sure there was quite a lot of battles down here between the hippos. And of course there was that awful, awful heart-wrenching event where the baby did get in fact killed. Oh yes, we found a croc. Wait, hold on, I'm just having a little look. Where are you looking, Seb?
On the bank, isn't that a croc?
No, it's a log.
Is it?
I thought it was a croc too.
My bad.
But it is a log, yeah. It happens. When the sun is in your eyes,
Yeah.
you do tend to mistake things. And the other day with Craig, I went, elephant! And it was a tree. So that, a croc-a-log. Yes, Kirst, it's a croc-a-log. A log that looks like a croc. And a croc that is not a log. No, that doesn't make sense. So we are looking. We did hear there was a large crocodile around here, and that's actually what we came down to see. But I can't see it. I can only see the hippopotami enjoying the bath, which I am so jealous of. So yes, as I was saying, the population numbers, it appears, I'm only going by a visual cue here, it appears to have reduced. I definitely don't think the numbers are so high. So some hippos could have moved on to greener pastures or wetter pastures, and obviously there could have been a lot of battles where many hippos got injured. As you drive around, especially after a night of rain, you will see hippo tracks, and there's a lot of them at the minute. So hippos could be moving between water point and water point. But Chitwa is, of course, the biggest water hole that we do have in this immediate area. It's very, very large. So hopefully Chitwa Dam's returning back to normal, restoring the balance within this ecosystem, because it definitely was out of balance for a little while back there. So hopefully the fish populations can restore themselves after they die off. And I was actually just having a look at the island here. It does look like a fish, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, fish-shaped island. Discover animals asking what are the hippos doing when they're underwater. And Kirsty does agree that it looks like a fish. I'm glad you see that, and it's not just me. So what they are doing, well, hippos forage at night time, so they do all their feeding at night, which is much cooler and it's darker and it's much easier for them to navigate around and eat. So during the day, they spend pretty much all day. Now, they say up to 5 to 6 hours, but personally, from what I have witnessed, they stay in the water a lot longer than that. They're there in the morning and they're right there until sunset. And they're basically just cooling off and conserving energy. So for their... Oh, what's this one doing over here? What are you doing? Big yawn. Yawning is normally a very territorial display on hippos, to show their mouth and their rather nasty looking teeth. So that was a big yawn we got there. So yes, for their body size, hippos actually don't eat that much. Around 1.5% of their body weight. So they don't have as much energy to run around and be active, and their skin is especially sensitive to the sun. They have actually a really fine epidermis, which is quite surprising for the kind of animal it is. It's a very thin and fine epidermis layer that can be quite affected by the sun. So they're hiding out from the sun here, they're cooling down in the water, and they're basically not really moving. They really don't do much. They just kind of bob up and down in the water. They're not swimming. Hippos cannot swim. They don't have webbed feet, or they don't have a body that is designed for that. So they are sort of just bouncing on the water and floating. So I believe Isaac has something very cute and exciting coming up to his vehicle in the Mara.
Here I am again, and I'm at a hyena headquarters. This is the Olololo clan, and over here is a nursery of plus minus 20 cubs of different ages. Very, very curious, very inquisitive. This one is almost gonna go under the vehicle. Hey, he's gone under the vehicle. Here comes another one. Okay, they're asking what is this big metal thing that is talking. See, very interested. This is super cool. So beautiful, look at this. Very inquisitive. This is, okay, they don't like something. maybe the smell of diesel. Yeah, this is amazing, guys. One of those rare moments that I would love everybody to enjoy this. Okay, there's one that's coming from the back there. He says, you know, what is that? A metal thing? I'm gonna go see it too. Yeah, he's coming. Yeah, he's about 3 months, this one. You can tell those are different ages. Yeah, about 5 months and 3 months. Yeah, this is so cool. All different ages. This is definitely a breeding den where all females are breeding here, because for sure these cubs don't belong to one female. As written, as said, and it has been said, only matriarch give birth. I disagree 100% with that theory. Somebody has still to come and prove me wrong and tell me how comes we have this many from one female. Definitely, this has broken the records. All these cubs are different ages. They do belong to different females. Those are very young ones. Look at them, and they are begging for milk to drink. Yeah, they are begging. They want to drink. That's their mom, who's actually a very young female, I would say. She is very young. Yeah. You saying they're gonna chew my tires? Please, I hope not, because this is not a very good place to be changing tires in the dark. I don't want to be doing that, and also I don't want them to see me outside of the vehicle. They'll get very skittish. So please, hyenas, I hope you didn't hear that. You don't speak human, so please don't chew my tire. They do chew the mudguard though. They have chewed one before. I have about 5 of them under the vehicle already. And I'm glad I'm not in a hurry, because if I was to switch the vehicle on, then they'll have a headache because they'll hit their heads under the vehicle. This one wants to come in. You know, he's smelling something. Look at him. He's right here. Oh, so cute. That's beautiful. The light is also the golden hour, I call it. This is the best light for photography. They call it the golden hour. So, yeah, if you're here, you'd get some very good pictures of these beautiful, cute, spotted hyenas. This is actually the Olololo clan. We don't know the numbers. Sheena, you ask if the adult will get angry. I don't think in this case, no, because if it was, then nobody would be this close to the vehicle. And usually, when they are angry, they won't actually call them. They'll give a shout and then they'll run off. That is like to say, that thing is not safe. Get out of there. But in this case, the adults are seated quite a distance and they're very comfortable with the hyenas approaching our vehicle. We are very still as we speak because we don't want to interfere with their behavior. And I think over the few months that we've been visiting this spot, they have gotten used to us and they know that we are actually not a threat. Those huge ears are very good for listening in the night. At night, when they can see, they usually use the sense of smell and hearing to locate prey and also to listen to where others are calling. Here, this clan, I would estimate it's easy 60, because if the young ones are only plus minus 20, it can be up to 60. And a clan like this can be very, very successful. They can bring down even a fully grown buffalo because all they need to do is outmaneuver it and then they eat it alive. Every now and then somebody says something interesting and they all run away. I don't know what it is. And then they say no, did you actually touch the vehicle? Yes, I touched it. It was warm. And then, yeah, they ran away. So they said, let's go try again. Maybe that's what they want to come and do again. All those are different sizes. The one to the right, about 3. The one farthest, about 5. The one to the left, about 4. So those are different sizes. And it's really amazing that nature still surprises me, that, you know, what is written is not always what it is. I once saw a bird that everybody didn't believe was here in the Masai Mara, and it took quite a while for everybody to be convinced that it actually flew all the way here. So it doesn't mean that what it is written remains that way. It does change. This must be a lot of mothers for this clan of hyenas, because all these you see here are cubs. Looks like there's 3 females that are babysitting, and then everybody else has gone to look for something. That is one mother over there. He's, I think, the mother of those 2, and they're still determining who is stronger by those biting each other. He's so, loving. The mother, you can tell. Yeah, and also the little cubby is showing some affectionate. Yeah, so beautiful. Yeah, you can tell this area where they are at, the grass has been worn out. It does tell me that this is where they socialize. This is the arena where they groom each other. They lick each other. They do that very early in the morning and keep each other warm. Look at that, so sweet. Beautiful, super. Yeah. Who said hyenas don't have fun? This is their fun time. It's actually quite cool. The temperature is beautiful, and these guys are loving it. And I'm sure that guy there is quite smart. He's trying to get as much milk as possible, because sooner or later maybe that female will go looking for something to eat. Yeah, that is typical behavior of greeting one another. With hyena, they lift one leg and then they lick each other's genitalia. It's an interesting way of saying hello, who are you? That's how they, they greet each other, especially when they don't know each other. But in this case, it's mom and son or daughter. That's what they do it. And then all of a sudden, that's the reaction normally they do. One moves away quite quickly. Yeah. Yeah, I'll stick here. Let me send you to Jamie, who's looking for leopards, and give you a little bit of a break.
I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous of Isaac and his hyena cubs gambling about, coming up to the vehicle. Oh, I miss it so much. I was looking back for this presentation. I was looking back on all of my old photos from North Clan as well, and thinking back on those moments where I used to arrive in the dark with Manu on the back, and we'd have everything all set up, and arrive in the dark and sit there for a little bit, and then all of a sudden these faces would appear out of absolutely nowhere, all from around the bushes, and then come running up to us. They were so excited to see us. It was the best. I miss that tremendously. No hyena tracks on this road, sorry, as a total aside. Just going to turn this down quickly. Paula says that I'm the hyena whisperer. Well, I'm clearly not whispering in the right language at the moment, because I'm not having much success. Admittedly, I've been office bound for a fair amount of time, so I'm really going to, over the course of today, and probably, yes, maybe I shouldn't be a hyena whisperer at all. Maybe I should be a hyena shouter. Just yell or whoop. I'm going to take a cruise up towards the quarry on Torchwood. Oh, we'll take the fire break. Woo. And just have a look and see if there's tracks here. I suspect there will be. Problem is I think that the hyenas that I saw yesterday, it's a sort of a skewed situation, because they were there for Kuchava's kill. But the fact that Lauren had Pretty wandering around in here, to me, suggests there's a very good chance. I can't go right over this ridge because Lauren's on Chitwa, so I imagine, Kirst, correct me if I'm wrong, she's on the Chitwa mast, isn't she? Awesome. Okay. So while I figure out where to go from here, back you go across to Isaac so you don't miss a moment with those cubs.
We are still with the Olololo clan, and the young ones are still very interested in our Land Rover. I have at least maybe 6 underneath the vehicle. I don't know what they're trying to inspect. They might become future hyena mechanics. They're under there. They will be coming one by one and you'll see them. Over there seems to be getting active. Seems to be getting very busy. Yeah. It's time of day where the temperatures are fantastic. They're beautiful. It's cool. Yes. This, they're all here. Well, hello and welcome to this great sighting. My name is Isaac, and on camera is Bungei. With us here is the Olololo clan of hyenas. There are so many of them. I cannot actually keep count. This one is almost going behind the car. Look at the light on him. So beautiful. Yes, he's listening to the other cousins. They're off in the grass. Okay, bye-bye. That one has gone behind the car. There is still more. They're everywhere. They're everywhere. I think they're exploring their surroundings. There is a lot of area to cover around here, and they're all hiding in the long grass. I'm sure some of them are actually maybe walking in those tracks where their mothers usually follow, hoping to encounter their mothers coming back with a big piece of meat or skin. I think that's what they're hoping for, because they are getting very, very active, moving around. Yes, there is one female there very focused on something. I don't know what she hears. She's looking at something very focused in the grass. I don't know what has aroused her, but you can tell that intensity. Oh, she's relaxed now. Okay, come. Oh, look at that. Life is good. Oh, yes, hyenas do roll over also, very much like lions when they're very relaxed. Oh, little guy has got an itch. Over here, there is totally... So, okay, welcome back, everybody. We're still here with the hyenas. And, yes, and, sorry for that hitch, hitch up a little bit. We're still here with the Ololo clan. I hope everything is okay with you. These two young guys are getting feisty towards each other, and that guy has got a hold of the other one's neck. Not a very good area, because if it does cut through, it can cause some serious injury, even bleeding to death. Those are like 3 different ages there. You can tell that burrow is quite deep because they're disappearing in there. Here comes another one. He's out. Ooh, ooh. Yeah, somebody's not very happy with the other. It's amazing to see this many. It is uncommon. I'm sure maybe somebody else has experienced this, but to me, it's one of very few sightings where I come across this many young hyenas in one spot. Yes. Yes. In it, you ask if they make, dens underground. Yes, but originally they are not the ones that make these burrows. They are made by aardvarks who are usually looking for termites. So they dig these burrows, and they can be as deep as maybe 15 feet. And once they've eaten what they want, the aardvarks, they leave. And then those holes over the years are utilized by different animals, from porcupine, snakes, big snakes like pythons, hyenas, mongooses, monitor lizards. It's a fast come, fast served, homestead kind, where whoever comes in there and takes over becomes the owner, and then when he leaves, then somebody else might utilize the same hole, and it is the case here. So we might not have those many termites, but the few we have, and the few holes that are made in those are utilized by hyenas and other animals. Over here, it is not actually a very big termite mound, but maybe it was big and then it collapsed when it was dug down by the aardvark. So yes, we don't have many, but the few we have are utilized by hyenas. There's something happened. I don't know what it is. Yeah. MGN, are the cubs mostly quiet? MGN, yes. And if you've been watching, you can tell there has been very minimal vocalization apart from the last 1 minute when they all ran. Somebody made a noise and everybody scampered towards the burrow. I think it was like, stranger, 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 and then all of them ran. They have these calls that tells them there is a threat, and the most defense they can get and security is by scampering back to their den for a few minutes until the threat is neutralized or recognized, or even if it's not there, learned that it's not there, and then they come out again. Here you can tell they're still focused in the direction where they thought it was, but they are relaxing as time passes. They have gotten tired of our Land Rover, and they're quite a distance from us now, scattered everywhere around me, to the left. It's a beautiful scene. It's about sunset very soon, and soon the females are gonna go looking for food. There's one big one coming. He's gonna appear in the picture soon. That is a beautiful young one. Yeah, I'm here. Let me take you to Lauren, my colleague. I hope she finds you something.
Oh, my heart melts listening about those fluffy hyena cubs. I miss our hyenas so much, as many of you know. Now, I know Jamie is on a mission to try and locate this den. She's going to look in Torchwood, which is actually just to the right-hand side of us just now, and I think she's doing the right thing. That's where my heart tells me the den is, just from where we've located various different hyenas, where we've seen tracks. Now, we could be wrong, but that's where my investigation led me. We need those hyenas back. They brought so much joy to most of our lives, and it was incredibly interesting just learning about the clan and their dynamics. Now, I believe Jamie told you about a dream she had recently, so I'm going to confess one of my dreams. It's not recent, but it's one that the whole camp knows, and it was actually quite terrifying. So, as many of you know, I fell in love with the hyenas, especially little Plonk, who I haven't seen since before I went on leave, which would be about Oh, a long time ago now, over a month ago. So Plonk is, I'm sure, looking very, very different than what he looked before. But I fell in love with him. I just thought he was the cutest little naughtiest thing, a toe rag, as we would say in Scotland. So I dreamt that I stole him from the den. I don't know why I would do that, but this is my dream. I stole him from the den and I took him back to my room in camp. And I was so worried about Mr. Hendry himself finding out that I decided to take him home with me on leave, going back to Edinburgh. So I packed Plonk in my suitcase and somehow I magically got him to Edinburgh through customs and all sorts, as if that would ever happen. So I took him home and he stayed in my house for a few days. And my brother has just recently had twins. He has month-old twins, a boy and a girl. And Plonk ate the twins. Seb's laughing. That was my dream. I woke up one morning and Plonk had ate the twins. Oh, so yeah, that was a dream. How weird. Oh, Kirsty's never heard of it. Yes, I managed to tell everyone. Yeah. So it is a nightmare, actually. It's a nightmare, sorry. So I just thought I would share it with you because everyone loves that story. But I would never take a hyena and I would never pack it in my suitcase, just FYI. I don't quite know where my brain was going with that one. But I definitely have got hyenas on the brain because I just feel so frustrated that we're just not able to pinpoint this den. And as I've mentioned many times before, it's not for the lack of trying. I love spending time with the leopards and the lions, of course I do. But I'm just really frustrated that we've just lost the Juma clan. They've just literally gone right through our fingers. But we'll get there, we will get there. I think within a week we will have located the den. So we are travelling north now. We checked all of the southern dams, if you like. We're heading north for Buffelshoek Dam. Mario's asking, did I tell my brother? Yes, I did. I told my whole family and they were just horrified. They obviously have not got the affinity and bonds with the hyenas that I have, and they probably didn't even know who Plonk was, but I told my family and they were a bit horrified at the dream. It is rather horrifying, but the twins are okay, don't worry. There was no hyena when I was back in Scotland last, so please don't worry. Oh, it's amazing how dreams just take you to a whole other place. So yes, as I was saying, we're heading north to Buffelshoek Dam to see what is going on there. Minas is asking, do my dreams get dark quickly? Not normally, actually. They say that some people dream and some people don't dream at all, or they're not aware of it. I seem to be one of these type of people that has really lucid dreams. Very vivid, very intricate. Sometimes I don't even understand my own dreams. And I wake up in the morning thinking, that's kind of my facial expression that I wake up with in the morning. I'm a dreamer, put it that way. But no, they don't normally go this dark. That was just one dream that I'll probably never forget. I'm quite glad I shared that with you all. You're all probably as terrified as I am. And I'll probably have another dream tonight because I've just been speaking about it. But a nightmare for me is truly the spiders. If I dream about a spider, then that's really a nightmare. Farah's asking, my dream with James? Did I share my dream with James? Well, if that was the question, yes, of course I did. He found that rather amusing, the fact that I was trying to hide a baby hyena in my room in camp from him. And yes, he knows that he was in my dream. Which is really entertaining for him. But it was a nightmare, remember that. No other kind of dream. So I'm just trying to have a look in every single marilla tree that we see, because this is often where we see Tandy and Chalamba. So that's what I am doing right now. But while I do that, let's send you back up to the Mara with those little characters that were in my dreams.
Yebo, yes, that is the beautiful sunset of the Masai Mara. The day is coming to an end, and what a perfect way to end it with that beautiful sunset. We get lots of this in the year, and I never complain. I never get enough of it. Yes, and only a few times in the year we don't get it, mostly maybe in the rainy season, but the rest of the year, sunrises and sunsets in the Masai Mara are magical. Some of the most beautiful. I'm sure there are other places where it's really beautiful, but it is got its speciality in the Mara. It's nice to see the day end and the night start, because all the creatures of the night starts getting up, and as I can tell by these hyenas, they are getting very active. Bunke, if you zoom in to the right, all the way back, I saw the two. They're running around there. They were somewhere there. They have been running around the bush, you know, that little, there. Those, I think, are the youngest members of this clan. Oh, there are three of them. Look at them. So cute. Yes. Yeah, they've been running around there. I wonder, what game they're playing. Yeah. They actually had some dangerous games they play where they bite one another's neck and then try to shake it from one side to the other. I'm sure it's quite painful because they have these sharp canines that they are born with. It must be very painful. But their skin is tough, and it toughens as they age. Yeah, that guy seems to have heard me talking, but he's quite a distance away. Yeah, that's a mature female, and rather a clean one. Yeah, maybe the mother of that young one is trying to drink. Yeah. Remember, this is the spotted hyena. Kevin, well, sorry I had your name, but I didn't understand the question. Yes. Yes, now I understand the question. How, soft or hard is the hyena here? To be frank with you, I have never touched one. I understand that it is smooth, rough. It's not smooth and it's not rough. It's in between. And surprisingly, I had this from a friend of mine who had a hyena as a pet for some years. And so he told me it is not rough and it's not smooth. But from my perspective, I cannot lie to you, I've never touched one. Maybe one day when I touch one and you ask me, I'll be able to answer you. Remember, this is the spotted hyena. Once mistaken to be a scavenger, but when people started studying them, they realized that it's a very successful predator of the African plains, most successful than some other high-ranking predators like lion and leopard. They are up there. Oh, lots of young guys. I don't know what they're discussing. What they're gonna do to their parents for leaving them the whole day here. That is a lot of cabis, guys. And this is a very unique sight. You don't normally see this. You see two. Mostly you see two, but this is quite a lot. I'm having so much fun. And so, at the same time, they will hunt big animals as big as buffalo. A clan of up to 40 will run around a buffalo and eat it. They will, wildebeest. And they will scavenge if, chances avail themselves. But they will hunt most of the time, and a very efficient predator, and utilizes most of everything it eats. It kills from bones, skin, and hooves. Some of them it will eat them, so it will take care of everything. And like I said yesterday, it will eat a third of its body weight, so it is a lot of meat. It seems like they have an elastic belly where when they start eating, it starts stretching. It might be a small hyena, but after eating, it would seem like it has swallowed a soccer ball. I'm sure some of you have seen that. Oh, that is not very fair for that little guy. You see, oh, that's not very good. That's, yeah, they are bullying that little guy. Yeah, did you hear that? Go into the hole, little guy. Yeah, it's all happening here. The raising of the tail, it's arousement. And if you ever come across hyena and you're walking on foot and if they raise their tails like that, run to the nearest tree, my friend. Run. When they raise those tails, it is excitement and anger at the same time. You see these older guys, they're really bullying these younger guys. Yeah, and they're going for the back. You know, the little guy is not very happy. Come on, little guy, get out of there. Good. Yeah, get out of there. Yay! Yeah, that's a brave one, you know. Yeah, I don't know if the moms of the little guys are not here, because they seem to be very bullied by the others. Yeah, he's coming. Don't come back. Hey, you know, he's gone back straight to the same guy. I don't know why he was thinking. He must be a hardcore one. Oh, he doesn't like it now, and he's gone. Yes, and hyenas give birth to two. They carry their babies for up to around 4 months. And unlike cats and unlike dogs, they have only 2 mammary glands. So they give birth to 2 who are usually black in color. But after a few months, they start developing the spotted coat. It is the most widespread hyena in Africa, and it is, you know, in high population. I estimate in Africa there is more than maybe 50,000 or more, because they are very widespread. Their cousins, the brown and the striped. The brown is not found here in Kenya, but we do find the striped, which is solitary and very secretive, very nocturnal. And maybe the last time I saw one was about 5 years, although it's a beautiful specimen. I still like these guys. They're much more common. Oh, that is their kind of play. It's not very good play, as you can see. They're biting each other. And those kind of fighting, they're strengthening their jaws, at the same time learning how to rip meat off. Because with hyenas, when something is killed, there is no like table manners. Everybody goes for it, and they try to eat as much as possible. There is one hyena female that is saying goodbye. She's gone out. I think she's going shopping for a warthog or a zebra or a topi. To the left, she has disappeared into the long grass. Yeah, they are very widespread. I have 2 guys very close to me here, and one, they're getting closer. Hello, guys. Yes, this is the crested Land Rover, and it speaks English. See, they are sniffing. I don't know what they're picking, maybe the diesel fumes. I had a shower, you cannot smell me. Yeah, they're very fluffy when they're young, and I think this is to, keep them warm. When they age, sometimes they lose that fluffiness, it gets shorter. That's a really cute one. Look at that. Remember to keep chatting us on Twitter, hashtag SafariLive, or you can watch us on YouTube. Yeah, really cool stuff here happening. Olololo clan, they're really giving us a show, the youngsters. It would be nice one day to find the adults, everybody. I'll be doing that quite soon. Paula, you asked me if they ever come to a camp. Every day. Every day they come to camp. Not long ago, we had Fang and Half-Tail, the lion, in camp, and they made a waterbuck kill. And you know what followed when they left? All the hyenas. Last night, they were outside the kitchen. We have to put all our leftovers in bins and lock them in, because that's what they come for. Every night we have them, so they do come to our camp. They are, watchmen. They look after us outside. They're always walking around the tent. You can hear them every now and then when you wake up. But, we are not worried. we're supposed to be in bed when they're outside, and so we never come out unless there's an emergency. Yes, they do come to camp. Looks like it's each time, and everybody is taking care of his each, or maybe I call it each corner. Hello, you're beautiful. This is an animal that weighs up to 60 kilos. Yes, I have my hyenas here. I understand Jamie is looking for hyenas. Good luck.
Okay, I'm still trying to hold back the jealousy at the hyena sighting that Isaac is experiencing, but I'm happy for him. It sounds absolutely magical. We're with something just as fluffy as the Mara hyenas, and it is in fact a not quite nursery herd, but a herd of very, very young waterbuck, probably between the ages of around about 5-ish months. No, probably maybe not even that. 4 to 6 months old. No, that doesn't make sense either. Where are we? We're in January. I can't actually then be that much older than 3 months or 4 months. It's generally a peak season around about the start of the wet season for when waterbuck give birth. I just sometimes forget how quickly baby antelope grow. And they've all gathered together. It's very common for waterbuck to do this. Once they've reached the age of almost being weaned from their mothers, they group together and spend quite a lot of time in, I guess you could call it a nursery group. I don't know what else you would call it. A young adults group. Doesn't quite have the same ring. But one of them saw a female approaching, and I wonder if it's not one of their mothers. I'm going to go just a little bit further forward to go and have a look. This has been thoroughly unsuccessful, by the way, the hyena hunting. My next plan from here is to go check Gwen's old den, which we have done already on multiple occasions, but maybe there's one next door in the same way there's one very close to Philemon's cutline den. I don't know. We'll go have a look. Hello, little ones, you smelly creatures. I can smell you from here. You smell like a petting zoo. Is that your mummy coming? Some of them really do look like teenagers, and some still have that little baby look to them. I think these three are gathered together, and I think the mother belongs to the one on the right, or the one on the right thinks that it might be its mother. Astoundingly pungent. Definitely for the scratch and sniff book, this would be a scent that we would include. Can you see this one here on the right, Craigie? In the shadows. Sorry, I know they're beautifully backlit there. This one, I think, is the one that's... Ah, yes, here comes an adult. Oh, no, don't go and have a reunion behind the bushes. There's an adult approaching who's now running towards them. Let me try go further forward. You can see how the little ones are looking. Could you not have stayed in the open just for that moment? There she comes. Of course, now she's going to disappear. And she's ducked through there. Hold on, I'm going to go back again. Running, running, running in this direction to be reunited with the little ones. Okay, well, I should have stayed here the whole time, I guess. Okay. Well, it was anticlimactic. Oh, they're so pretty when they're backlit like this. There you go. Look, here comes one. That's not an adult female. Maybe it was just a slightly older youngster that had seen them. Although, no, I think she is. I think that might be mum to one of them. Waterbuck actually live quite not a rough start to life, but it's not as sheltered as for something like a lion cub or a hyena cub. They're left immediately to their own devices, and they have to just get on with things. Mom leaves them hiding away, tucked away, and she only ever visits them about once a day to go and check and see if they're okay and to feed them. The rest of the time they're on their own, hiding up in the bushes. Okay, well, they're heading in the direction I was going to head in anyway, which is towards Gwen's old den. In the desperate hope, I've been on to Torchwood, I've been to where... What I'm looking for, and I don't know what else to look for, is signs of hyenas repeatedly using one pathway. So not just hyena tracks, that's of no use to us. Hyenas get everywhere. So there's no point in... It was an adult female, it was one of the mothers. There's no point in just following one set of hyena tracks. Hyenas cover 20, 30 kilometers in a night. But I'm looking for places where they've come in and out the same place. I haven't managed, though. I haven't found anything that fits the bill. Don't panic. Don't panic. They're off to Chitwa. There we go. There's the adult female. I think that was Mum. And she's going to accompany the youngsters back towards the dam itself. We don't really have a herd structure. It's not like the harem of a zebra or anything like that. All right. I'm going to cruise along the fire break on Juma's southern side while I do that. Lauren has managed to get all the way up to Buffelshoek Dam. Let's go and see who's around.
So we did make it to Buffelshoek Dam, and it is rather quiet, but of course the resident hippos are here. Now, we obviously had a look at the Chitwa hippos earlier, but these two hippos are, of course, ones that we know, and it is indeed Scuba Steve and Snorkel Sarah. Guaranteed to see them here. And during rehearsal the other night, both Seb and I decided, you know what, let's go to Buffelshoek and we'll do some hippos. There's a guaranteed sighting. Let's just travel up there and, you know, they'll be there. And would you have it, we came here and they were not here. The sun had, of course, set by this time, and this is when hippos do tend to leave the water. But just typical that your guaranteed animal is, of course, not guaranteed at all. Now, hippos do normally practice a harem style of sort of social status. So there can be one male and herds of up to 200 females. But normally it is around 7 to 15. So in this situation, we obviously have one male and one female, and there's quite a difference in size between them. So Scuba Steve is obviously a younger hippo. He's not quite a full adult hippo like the ones you have down at Chitwa. And obviously he's got this whole dam to himself. So I think it's a great life he's got up here, and it's nice that Snorkel Sarah does come to join him every so often. Now, we have literally been to 4 water holes now, 4 of the main water holes, and a few of the little pans nearby, and to no avail with other animals. So it is getting to that golden hour, the hour where the sun starts to set. It starts to get a little bit cooler and the light becomes nice and golden. So we are hoping that maybe this is when some leopards will appear. And we will continue looking. Of course, we will not give up. And this is when it gets a little bit easier to be a hippo as well. So these truly amphibious ungulates will eventually, when the time is right, when it's dark enough and cool enough, they will climb up the embankment here and start foraging. And they will forage alone, so they will go separately. Now, Nature Girl is asking a very interesting question. How far can they move in the water? Now, not really very fast. Now, you all know that when you're swimming or when you're just... Well, even in a bath, I guess you could test this out. It's not easy to move through water. As a hippo, who's not elegantly designed at all, when it does walk, as it doesn't swim, I mentioned that earlier, when it does walk through the water, you of course have that drag. So it's not easy for a hippo to quickly escape the water. Now, I have seen actually Snorkel Steve, I think, run out the water once, and he does do it with quite force, but it's obviously not very fast. Now, when they're on land, they are also quite clumsy animals, and they can't jump. They're not animals that can jump or navigate over obstacles. So if there's a sort of fallen tree, it's not as if it can just lightly, elegantly skip over that log. It's not possible for a hippo. But on land, it can actually reach around 40 kilometers per hour if provoked. So a hippo wouldn't generally gather those speeds just on your average foraging around. It would be as if it was threatened or if it was being chased or sort of provoked in any manner. The hippo can reach up to 40 kilometers per hour. But in the water, since it's not able to swim, it has to sort of push through the drag of the water, which we all know is not easy. If you run your fingers through water, you can feel you have to push, you have to use effort. And they're not designed with fins or scales or webbing at all. So it would actually be lovely to get Scuba Steve coming out the water at one point, rather than just submerging himself as he normally does. It would be nice to see something other than a submerged fat hippo, but I don't think that's going to happen. They have both gone under at the exact same time. Oh, and he always pops his head out to say, I can still see you, I know where you are. Now, Paula's asking an interesting question. What is the largest animal a hippo might attack? Now, they are clumsy fighters. They do have these huge tusks in their mouth and these huge gaping mouths, actually. I think we managed to see one earlier, but they're not actually good at fighting. So they do wound each other. So I would say that a hippo, the largest animal a hippo would attack would actually be another hippo. So many hippos get injured from these male hippos. Now, there is evidence, I believe, of one hippopotamus actually snapping a 3-meter, which is about 10-foot crocodile in half. So I can't quite remember where that happened, but it was somewhere in Africa. The hippo obviously managed to get the crocodile in its mouth and completely kill that animal. But obviously a 3-meter crocodile in comparison to a hippo is nothing. So I think that answer to that is another hippo. Oh, something like that happened at Chitwa Dam a few years ago. Oh, that's interesting. Maybe that's actually where I read that it happened. But it's quite a famous incident where the hippo really did attack this crocodile and actually snap it in half, which is not such a nice thing to think about. But good question, Paula. I would go with another hippo that would be the largest animal that it would attack. Males can actually kill each other. That's how vicious they really are. And they're not pleasant to the females either. They will actually, during mating, they will push their body weight on top of the female and push her under the water to mate with her. It is completely sexual coercion. The female does not have much of a choice, and sometimes she can really start to struggle. She needs to come up for air, and she's got this huge male hippopotamus on her back. And there has been circumstances where some females have actually drowned because the male has not let her come up for air during mating. So hippos are very interesting animals, but they're also very aggressive. They have a lot of attitude, shall we say that. So our characters have gone under again. Snorkel Sarah and Scuba Steve have gone. So we shall move on from the dam. And while we do that and hopefully find something within this beautiful golden hour, let's go across to Jamie and see what she's up to.
I'm hoping to find something in the golden hour too, preferably a hyena with a cub, or a hyena leading us to cubs, or something like that. I'm also dying to see June's cubs. She's had suckle marks, she's been lactating for the last month. They've got to be here somewhere. I'm on the fire break. I've checked Gwen's old den. There's nothing. There's not enough tracks around. There's a nice muddy polo. There's a nice muddy wallow. I don't know where polo came from. That Chris says I can't come home until I find them. That's sort of how I'm starting to feel. But I fear that the call of dinner at some point might be too strong for Craig and myself. There's tracks here. There's hyena tracks here, but they're not regular enough to not just be hyena tracks. And this is close to that termite mound where Tingana was having a sniff around, and we first thought that they might be before they were discovered on Little Gowrie. Come on, just one hyena. Show me a hyena. And then I'll just follow it in the hope that it takes us where we need to be. This was this termite mound here that Tingana was at, that Tristan said I should go check. I did check it at the time, and then we discovered they were at Little Gowrie. Ravinda, I'm back on Djuma. I did go on to Torchwood. I did do a check around the southern boundary, because that's where Lauren had Pretty the other night. So I did check around there. I'm now back on the southern boundary of Djuma, but I'm going to just keep going up and down and around this corner, round and round and round, and in the hope I bump into something. So I'm nearly at the Leadwood Junction, for those of you familiar properly with the property. The Leadwood Junction, the big dead Leadwood's just up ahead that it's named after. I got this frantic feeling that it's urgent that we find them, partly because I want to see them, but secondly because so much changes with the cubs. They get so big so quickly that we're really missing out here on pivotal moments in their lives. And if I knew that they were still on Little Gowrie, it would be different. Then at least I'd know. I've done this road 3 times. I'm going to do it again. One more time. Back onto Leadwood. And back towards Torchwood. And round we go. This is the thing about also being live, is it doesn't make for the most entertaining watching for you guys. Unless it pays off, of course, in which case then we've got a great story. But it's not particularly thrilling for me to check roads that I've already checked. But a hyena could be sleeping in a drainage line, it could be anywhere, and only just have decided to emerge. Oh, thank goodness there's something to look at while I look for them. Okay, don't fly away. They usually don't, this group. Woohoo! Ta-da! The Battaliers of Mumba, Leadwood and Battalier Road. Well, there's only one at the moment that I can see. But there's a family of them that nest around here. And I vividly remember finding a black Mumba on Battalier Road and a Battalier on Mumba Road one day. And I was very impressed with myself. Eventually we'll get it the right way around. You can see very characteristic extension of the wings past the tail. Kirst says she remembers that. I remember it well. Poor Tibbs was very upset that we'd seen a black mamba. He was a bit shaky for a long time. It's a very short tail of this bird. They're easy to identify, particularly the adults. Very fluffy heads, but mostly you just have to look at the striking colouring and you'll know what it is almost immediately. Bright red-orange faces and feet, and then that contrasting black of most of the body. Looks like a male to me, but I can't quite see that second wing bar on that wing at the bottom. I think it's a male. Yeah, it's almost certainly. Its day is almost drawn to a close. I bet it knows where the hyena den is. They're low-flying birds. They're scavengers. There you go. Lily's on the same page. Lily says it's a pity that they can't talk and give us directions to the hyena den. It would be convenient, because I bet it knows exactly where it is. They fly low. They're always the first ones to find things like leopard kills because they skim below the canopies of the trees. They actually have very, very good eyesight, and they pick up on leopard kills far quicker than something like a vulture. So it would know where the hyena den is. It would not be a threat to the hyena cubs themselves, but it would know. I'm not sure exactly how smart they are, though. Some say that Stefan Winterboer can speak to battaliers. Actually, no one's ever said that except me. I just think that there's something battalier-like about him. There you go. James is wondering what prey these birds hunt. They belong to the snake-eagle family, and they do actually occasionally eat snakes, but believe it or not, that's not the dominant part of their diet. They scavenge quite a bit, so they will, as I said, fly low and look for various kills that they can find, that they can scavenge from, or dead things. They also hunt rodents, amphibians occasionally, the odd reptile. No, they're quite, what's the word? Well-rounded, opportunistic. No, none of those words are the words I'm looking for. Broad, I guess. They've got quite a broad diet. But they are, of course, birds of prey. If that beak and talons left you in any doubt. Kirsty says hungry is the word that I was looking for. They're hungry birds. Versatile. Their dietary requirements are quite versatile. I'm going to just sit quietly for a second because I've run out of words, and you can listen to the sounds of the bush because it's always nice at this time of evening. Of course, now everything has gone relatively quiet, and all you can probably hear is the fan of the vehicle desperately trying to cool itself down. Awesome. Well, that worked out really well. Kirsty's queuing crickets for us, keeping us all entertained. Okay. I'm very disappointed that Kirsty doesn't actually have something there on her TriCaster that she can press for all cricket sounds. Whenever we tell a joke that flops miserably, we should have one. Kirsty said she's on it, that she's going to get it. We're actually getting quite close to this. And gone. I thought we were going to manage to sneak a bit closer to it, but unfortunately not. Wish I could just borrow its mind for a little bit and go soar out and look for them quickly. Getting to that stage of the day where they should be mobile or moving. Nice and cool now. We still haven't got to those really, really hot evenings. This is where I've seen the most hyena tracks. It's been on Leadwood Road. And a giraffe that keeps avoiding me. I've been looking at his tracks since I started this drive. All right, well, I'm going to continue not pulling my weight by searching for the hyena den. Fortunately, Lauren and Isaac have done far better than I have, and Lauren's found you a giraffe.
So we just don't seem to be able to drive anywhere at the minute without encountering an elefante. And we stopped quite a while back, and there's just a bull coming towards us. Yep, I'm just double checking it's a bull. He's just walking along the road. So we've just stopped the car, gave him plenty of space, and just let him make his way wherever he would like to go. You can see he's walking really slowly definitely a boy. There's no question there. And you can see his actual temporal gland is streaming a little bit. Now, this is the gland that they have at the sort of just behind their eyes, if you like. And it streams for different reasons, but normally when you see it like this, it could mean that a male is in must. And this is when it is ready to mate. So this is normally when you have to be really, really careful of the males out here. And I don't smell must. This is indeed a strange looking giraffe. This is definitely not a giraffe, actually. Apparently that's what Jamie linked it as. So yes, I can't smell must. Normally when an elephant is in full must, a bull, and it's streaming from its temporal gland like that, you can actually smell them. Lots of people have different descriptions for what it smells like. But I don't know what I would quite say, but it's definitely a beigey browny colour. I like to colour my smells, and you can really smell it from quite some distance. So when it is in full must, the temporal gland swells quite a bit, and it can actually be really painful for the bulls. So to have this sort of swollen glands in their, well, right in their head, behind their eye, it can be quite painful. And that's also another reason that, you know, the males that are in full must can become quite agitated. They can become quite aggressive because they're also probably in a little bit of pain. I don't think it's very pleasant for them at all. So I can't smell it, so I don't think this male is in full must. Elephants can also stream from this gland when they are particularly excited or any sort of emotion. So I don't think this male is in full must, but you can see it there right behind the eye. And this is very, very relaxed bull here. He's urinating a little bit and eating as he goes. He's aware of us. He walked right towards us. So this is what, the third time we've encountered elephants today? It's elephant traffic everywhere. We're seeing all the big animals today. We've gone from hippo to elephant. And actually, as we just left the hippos, we were discussing Paula's question about the attack, which was a really interesting one. What's the biggest animal a hippo will attack? And we were talking, you know, I don't believe there is much evidence of hippos attacking an elephant. There's lots of recordings of a standoff between the two. If these two animals do run into each other, there can be a big standoff. But I don't think there's records of a hippo actually attacking an elephant. Now, hippos are big and they're heavy, but they're not necessarily tall. Elephants have the height advantage. So we were just discussing that. Thank you, Paula, for giving us such an interesting topic to discuss as we bumble along. And of course, both hippos and elephants are actually similar in that their testicles are inside. I think this is termed tesconda, and it means they have internal testicles, so you can't actually see them. It's not visible to the eye, and that's why another reason that hippos and elephants are a little bit similar in that way. The penis sheath does hang down, but not the testicles, so they're inside, which makes it a little bit different from other mammals that we see out here. And sometimes if you're looking at the hippo from behind, it can make it a little bit difficult to sex if you're not able to see that part of the elephant. Nina's saying she loves the elephant's eyelashes. Let's take a little closer look at that. Oh, they're so long. I'm jealous. I wonder if he uses mascara or eyelash curlers. I think many females out there would kill to have longer lashes like those. But of course, elephants' eyes in comparison to their body size and head are very, very small. I think they're almost the same size as a human's. So in relation to the size of that animal, it makes it very, very small. So this is where the sort of realization comes that elephants don't have perfect eyesight. It's not great eyesight. Many animals will rely on other senses. They don't always rely on their eyes. If they did solely rely on their eyes, the eyes would of course be much, much bigger. And the eyelashes will just protect the elephant. Now, they're notorious, we think we saw one earlier on, for just picking mud up in its trunk and throwing it all over its body, rolling in the mud, mud wallowing. So, of course, having long lashes like this can just protect the eyes from anything getting inside. So I think we're just going to stay with this elephant a little bit longer. The sun's starting to set off in the background. We've got a really, really beautiful view here and a very happy elephant. So while we stay here, let's go across to Jamie and see what she's up to now.
Okay, listen. That was so cool. That was a full body experience for this Korhan. Now, those of you that have been on Drive with us regularly will know that one of my goals is to get the red-crested Korhan display on camera. And the last few times that Craig and myself, it's always been with Craig, and Craig and myself have spotted one. They've done the display and then it promptly stopped. And it's actually the most fascinating thing. They fly up into the air and then they tumble down out of the sky. And for some reason, females supposedly find this incredibly attractive. And the higher they go and the further they fall, the more attractive they are, in a show of sheer stupidity. I can also hear a wood owl, by the way, while you were listening to that, which was overwhelming. Not a wood owl. White-faced owl. Lou says that it sounds like someone's pressure cooker about to blow. It's absolutely hilarious. It's the most enthusiastic red-crested Korhan I've seen in a long time. Usually they do a bill snap into that whistling call, that sort of piping whistle. But in this case, it does a cook, 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 which was quite impressive. I bet none of you have really, or I bet most of you have never actually seen it with its red crest out either. Something that I have seen only a handful of times in my life. You can hear a black-bellied bustard calling as well, so it's a family reunion of the bustard and the Korhan. I always feel the need to clarify this. It is bustard. B-U-S. Bustard. Come on, do it, do it. Looks like it's gonna hop. Come on. No, it's probably just gonna... Whee! No, it's just gonna fly away. Awesome. Well, close enough. Not quite what we were going for, but the call was very cool. There's this little owl. It's going to be almost impossible to find here. Finding a little owl out here at this light would be very tricky. Whoops. All right. Off you go across to Isaac while I look and see his lions.
I am here following the Owino Pride. We just came across them from where they were lying very close to the road. I don't know what they're up to, but they seem to be hunting. Take a look. The intensity tells me there is something going on. That is a breakaway from another pride that has joined the Owinos. Normally there are only 3 females, and that one in front is the female. There is some other females that have spread out in this area. The male seems not paying attention, but the other females have spread out around here. I don't know exactly what's happening, but they seem to be listening to something. They have disappeared on us, on our right, but we'll be showing them to you shortly. The Winos is another pride that actually broke away from the territory pride. They formed their own little territory in between the Olololo pride and the... Okay, I understand there's an issue with my tech, so please let me take you back to learn how we rectify this.
Sorry about that. Sometimes the technical issues just do beat us, but we always fight back, of course. Now, we did stay with the Ellie, who just walked very calmly past us, and he's obviously now walking off into the distance. He definitely is in must. We had a closer look. Can't actually smell that odour, so I think he's just coming into must. But obviously, we discussed the streaming coming from his temporal gland, and he was also dribbling a lot down his leg. From his penis he was dribbling, and these are all signs of an elephant in must. Now, I have a really heightened sense of smell, and I'm really not getting any odour from him at all, and he walked right past us. So this could be because he's just coming into must, or... well, I'm not really sure why I'm not getting an odour.
There's no wind, that's why.
Or, yeah, Seb's saying there's no wind, so possibly it's just not came our way, although we did come very close to us. And now he's having a little feed here. I love it when they put their trunk up a tree like that. It's just fabulous. And he has a much older bull. You can see the size of his tusks. And we were actually just discussing how quite similar to humans in a way, let me finish, in that older bulls, and when it comes to elephants, can actually control their must a lot better. So obviously there's hormonal changes, the testosterone levels are rising, their temporal glands are swelling, there's a lot going on in the body. But just like a human, when it's a teenager, young bulls tend to struggle with must a little bit more, because they're like, what is happening to my body? All these changes, testosterone pumping through their veins and pain in the glands. So it's a little bit more difficult for a younger bull to control. But as they get older, they have more experience, and they seem to be able to handle their must a lot better. And maybe there's also other sorts of hormonal or physiological changes taken on in the body that makes it easier as the elephants get older. I'm not actually sure, so I'm just going to reverse back to get a little bit of a better angle. He's very calm, he's feeding, he's relaxed, but it is always worth being... oh, is he giving that tree a little shove? Okay, we'll just pull up here. So yeah, it's always good to be wary of an elephant, especially when you start to see the signs of must, because if it is a younger one, you know, they are a little bit more aggressive and boisterous, and they're just struggling to deal with their hormonal changes. But this one is definitely... oh, he's shaking the tree. Look at that. Oh. That was incredible. Did you see the force? He used his whole body there just to push that tree. And of course he's trying to get the fruits. Elephants are just all over Juma right now after the marulas. Good boy. And he's alone. I think he's a lone older bull just wandering around, and he's very relaxed. We're constantly watching his body language. His tail is swooshing. His ears are flapping. There's lots of signs we can look for, and this bull is very relaxed, even although displaying signs of must, and he's just picking up the fruit. And this is, of course, anthropomorphizing, but I do feel that when elephants are eating marulas like this one, they just tend to be, they appear to me like they're very happy. They love marula fruits. It's also picking up a lot of grass there as well. So they seem to be going from marula to marula to marula and trying to get as much fruit as they can. But it can't be very good for the trees, shaking them like that, and that's what the marula trees do try to avoid by dropping their dropping the fruits early. Oh, Kirsty just mentioned you can hear him eating the grass. That's fantastic. Let's just listen for a little while. Incredible sounds. being a huge animal, of course, they can't really hide. They're not very subtle. As they make their way through the bush, they do cause a little bit of damage in their wake, and of course they are noisy. I'm so glad you can all hear that. What a beautiful, handsome boy. He's really happy here. We gave him plenty of space just to wander on by and continue with his day. And thank goodness it is not Darrow. As you may have heard, our fence outside camp got taken down again last night. So this is the second time I think this has happened in a week, or maybe 10 days. I tend to really get lost in time here, but our fence is down again due to Darrow. He seems to enjoy just trampling all over our fence, which is not ideal for the people that have to put it back up. But Darrow is, of course, a younger bull. This older one just seems very, very relaxed with us. Now, elephants are also said to be short-sighted. There is a little bit of debate on that, but that's what can make them so nervous. Lauren, fantastic name. I never get old of saying that. I want to just move on because he's moved a little bit into the distance now. Lauren is asking, have I had my first marula fruit yet? And yes, I have. I actually tried it the other night for the first time. I think it was just 2 nights ago. And it was delicious. I love fruit anyway. And I would say it wasn't as sweet as I was expecting. I think I just had it as a really sweet fruit. It was delicious, and it was very similar in my mind to lychee, which is how we say it in the UK, and rambustan. So those are the ones that I would compare it to. Maybe a wee touch of mangosteen in there as well, but either way it was absolutely delicious. So I can see why all these elephants absolutely crave these fruits. Never tried amarula, and fortunately it's got cream in it, so I won't be able to try amarula, but my mum's a bit of a fan of that as well. So it's a great fruit, and the elephants around here are just... I think Seb was on his way home last night, Seb, and he was stuck behind like 20 elephants on the marula tree right outside camp. And what can you do when you've got a traffic jam of 20 elephants? Not much, I'm afraid. So I think Seb was stuck for quite a while. And they won't move. When they're eating the marula, they seem to go into this, well, it's probably what I go into when I stuff my face with salty popcorn. They go into like this food joy. They're so happy of food, and they seem to not notice anything else going on around them. So yes, Seb did get stuck last night behind a huge herd of elephants right outside our camp. We are surrounded by marula trees, so it does attract the elephants. And of course it does attract Mr. himself. So I'm really eager to find out how Jamie's hyena den search is going. I hope it's going well, so let's go over and find out.
Yeah, not well. Not very well at all, I'm afraid. I've come back a bit further to the west in the hope that I've missed something. The only thing I can say is that the most tracks I've found repeatedly has been where we stopped at that termite mound that Tingana sniffed around Leadwood Road on the fire break. That's where I've seen the most tracks, and they're coming across Gowrie Main as well. So the only thing I can suggest is we try again tomorrow morning early, and I go and I listen and see if I can hear them squeaking or whatever it happens to be, maybe disciplining one of the other cubs. I don't know. I'll have to wait and see, because I'm struggling. There's nothing on Weaver's Nest, nothing around Philemon's. Checked all of the other old dens. They don't seem to want to use the old dens anymore. I don't know why. He's a beautiful kudu if he's going to be cooperative. Hey, gorgeous. Sure. They are something else. That is a massive kudu. Not so much horn size, but body size. His neck and his shoulders, he's enormous. He's nearly the size of an eland. At least a female eland. His horns are still small. He is going to be, well, not small, but they're not fully grown yet. He's going to be an absolute giant. I can hear him. You can see he stopped to listen. He stopped to listen to some elephants, I think. I can hear elephants in the bush, breaking trees. Unfortunately, oh, there's an elephant. Oh, the elephant got a fright. I think the elephant actually even charged the kudu slightly. Mock charged. Heading towards, further towards Treehouse. I suspect this is the elephant herd that Lauren had earlier. Thanks, yes, thanks, Kirsta. No, the first big animal I found all day and we can barely see them. Kirsta's pointed out that our view is really spectacular. In case I hadn't noticed. I don't know, I think that's the best view of an elephant ear we've ever seen, Kirsten. I'll fight you on that. I'll lose, but I'll stand my ground. Kirst says top 3. All right, I'll try reposition. Hold on. Listen, I can't see all that well out of my right eye thanks to a bug that decided to fly into my face. Okay, well, I try and find my elephants. Off you go, back across to Lauren with her incredibly tall elephant.
So, Jamie, we do have giraffe this time. You were a bit earlier on, but we do have giraffes. And I pronounce that like that because we have 3. I think this is the most giraffes I've ever seen sort of together in Juma. And what a lovely sight it is, going from an elephant to another huge mammal. I have to say I do love giraffes. They are my father's favourite animal. So we have lots of giraffe ornaments all around at home. Now the third one that joined, I didn't get a good look, but we saw 2 females. So I'm not sure what the third one was. But there's definitely 2 females here. And look at the wee fluffy ossicones on their head. And they're just slowly, oh, they're walking in a line. It's just a really beautiful sight. And they're obviously feeding on the sort of deciduous foliage in the rainy season. That's what they feed on. And they feed on, well, the evergreen species at the other times. So it's rainy season now, so they're probably making use of all of the different plants. And believe it or not, they do eat a lot. They can eat up to 34 kilograms per day. So that is around over 75 pounds, I think. I hope that calculation was correct. And Giraffe Girl is very happy, and I am very happy for Giraffe Girl. She loves giraffes as well. It's just such a stunning view. They're very, very lovely animals to come across out here in Juma. There's obviously, we see them regularly in the Mara, but they're not rare here, that's the wrong word, but it's not something that you see every day, shall we say. Beautiful lighthouses of the bush. Now lots of animals around will actually look up, quite literally look up to giraffes, because if a giraffe spots something, they have the advantage of height. So of course other animals can take cues from giraffes. That's why we call them the lighthouses. So talking of the Mara, as I just mentioned, let's go up there and see exactly how they're getting on.
Yes, here I am. I had some lions, the window pride, about 5 minutes ago. I followed them into very thick grass. Got a little bit tricky for me because it started getting wet and plenty of holes from warthogs and advacs. So I decided to come back to the safety of this great road and see what I can find down the road. The Owino Pride are a breakaway from the Sausage Tree Pride. There are 3 females and they are led by 2 males. We call them Triangle Boys. I saw them at night sometimes back, but the Owinos are looking very healthy and they've gone down towards the marsh, and that's why I couldn't follow them. These are 3 females that are also a power to reckon because they also hunt buffalo, although at the moment they are living on warthogs. And it looked like they were going for something in the long grass. I couldn't see when they disappeared, but I got into a hole, and so I decided to turn around. Hopefully, in the near future, we'll be able to feature them and have a good time to recognize them so you can familiarize more with them. I don't know what's going to be down the road. Right now, it's pitch dark, and with my only help is my spotlight and the infrared camera. Those are my only 2 aids to find animals now. I cannot see anywhere if I switch the lights off. So I'm gonna continue this way, and hopefully I can find something quite soon. But for sure, there is something. This is the Mara. You know, you cannot drive for more than 25 minutes without coming across something, unless you really have bad luck at night. Even in the long grass, there'll still be an elephant or something crossing the road. Or maybe it's one of those days where I'm meant not to see anything on my way out. Well, I'm still quite a distance. Who is this? I see a bird in the road. You see him over here? Looks like a water thickney. It's one of those nocturnal birds. I'm gonna switch off so we can use the infrared. Did he fly out? Did he fly away? I don't know. I don't see him. I don't see him. Maybe he flew off. Yes, let me see if I can see him. Yeah, he flew off. Yeah, he was quite fast. Yeah, water thickney or spotted dickup. Those two are birds that are nocturnal, and they come out at night. And these are great places to see them along the road. There it is, flying again. They're actually very good. They have very good eyesight, so they will recognize artificial lights like headlights and fly away, unlike diurnal animals that will actually freeze when they see the lights. These ones will recognize the lights and then fly away. They are rarely ran over by... Ravinda, you asked me if we see any owls. Yes, we do. The spotted eagle owl is the most common. I do see them much closer to camp. We're quite a distance away. But yes, we do see them at night. Hopefully, maybe, I hope we can see one before the end of the show. Yes, they come out at night, the owls, together with the nightjars, the dickups. They all come out. Also, jackals are very active. The silverback jackal, I did see 2 earlier running down the road. But I wasn't live, so I couldn't show them to you. But it's a super nice temperature here, not cold at all. It's just pleasant. Come July, which is our coldest month, I want to be dressed like this. I'll be in a coat, or early morning is chilly, but right now it's perfect. You just want to be here. It's yes, while I drive looking for something along the road, I'll send you to Jamie and see what she's up to.
And so we're nearly at the end of our sunset safari, and I've failed dismally, but I didn't expect to get it right first afternoon. I knew it was going to take us some time to find the hyena den. And it's just a matter of persistence paying off, and eventually we'll get lucky. Probably when they move back to Philemon's cut line or something like that. But we will get lucky eventually. Do you know what I just noticed, which makes me very curious about this morning, is that there are female leopard tracks coming in the direction of Quarantine to where Hosanna was this morning. And they're not fresh. They've been driven over a fair few times. So at some point, a female leopard wandered away around here. I haven't seen Tundi towards Quarantine in a long, long time. But I'm hoping she's in here somewhere, off to the western edge. So maybe that's something for you to look forward to tomorrow morning. They're tiny little leopard tracks. They could only belong to Tundi or maybe Tlalamba. Who knows? All right. Fine, whatever. I give up. I'll see you tomorrow. Off you go to Lauren. She's doing much better than I am.
Well, we have found a lot of animals, Jamie. We have been very lucky on this safari today. And currently we have baboons chilling on a log. So this is what you do when you're a baboon and the sun is starting to set. Are they fighting? I think it's just play fight. Yeah, so this is what you do as the sun is setting. You chill on the logs, the baboon log, apparently. And these are the notorious baboons that do indeed run around very close to our camp and cause all sorts of havoc. Oh, look at the size of that one. Wow. Look at it just chilling there. It's log time, it's chill time. And this one just up to the right has got a little baby. Oh, that is adorable. Oh, what a lovely way to begin wrapping. Oh, look at that tiny little baby with its mother. And it's going to grow up to be probably a very naughty rascal, as they are. So these baboons are just going to continue chilling here, I think. And unfortunately, it's getting to that time where we should start wrapping up the drive. So we just want to say thank you to you all for your comments and questions. It really is what makes this show what it is. We've had a great safari today, and even although Jamie didn't manage to find her hyena den, we are working on it. We will get there eventually. So please join us tomorrow for the Sunrise Safari at 5 a.m. and thank you once again for us at SafariLive.